and welcome. I'm your not so humble game master TJ, and this is Dice of Ages, presenting CrestVahllen, the Baker's Dozen. Last time we had quite a few things happen. We're going to get to the recap in just a second, but oh my god,
so much bread.
Absolutely ridiculous, unhinged.
Always something.
Yeah, always surprises me. Nakano actually, I think all of you are level 10 and Nakano's a level 11 now.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and Nakano, you finished leveling up and gotten all your stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you're all set. Fantastic. And we'll work on stat blocks and all that jazz. Awesome. Well, unless there's any questions, we should get right into it, yeah? The only other thing, announcements I have is then we did really good at Genghis Con. It was great. It was great to be there. It was a lot of fun. Hopefully hitting up more cons in Colorado this year, and then we'll see. Maybe we'll make an appearance at Gen Con just as, con goers, not as exhibitors. And so keep an eye out for the whole Dice of Ages logo and stuff if you're around any of those places. But anyway, let's go right into the recap then, shall we? So, last one was episode 51. We started on the 3rd of Achiel. And then 5 days passed, so we ended up on the 8th. So that's where we're going to pick it up. But let's do this recap. A scoop shares his secretive new layered hand scale armor with the troop, offering an integrated handshake to Nakano, who finds her fingers crushed in an unwavering vice-like grip. A scoop's command to release his companion goes unheeded by the armor as Machete and Tamrin rush to yank her free. Drawing her blade faster than the eye can see, Nakano severs 3 fingers of the encircled hand, escaping just as the knuckles of her ensnared hand are painfully dislocated. Conferring with the Seeker at the forecastle of the ship, Tammy and a scoop ask about the stone idol that bears a striking resemblance to the Blanche Firbolg. The blue Drakesh reminisces about destroying the stone fetishes as the scoop elucidates upon the dreams of deals that have plagued him since acquiring the statuette. Fearing that he might have embroiled Nakano in a similar unintentional deal with his stone scales, when his stone scales grabbed her, a scoop looks to the Seeker for wisdom, whose divine mandate is to seek for those who need aid and guidance, as far as his purpose allows. Hinting that the burden of the idol and responsibility for the new stone armor is the Pale Priest's preordained destiny, the Seeker offers guidance, saying, "A scream heard far and wide from a bank will eventually find the opposite shore, regardless of how many trees, hills, fields, and valleys it must pass through. We have to decide what voice we listen to." Advising the party to examine the consequences of their actions and the ripples those actions make in the wider world. The Seeker reminds Tammy and a scoop that others of his kind possess gifts that may be of use, like the Watcher, also known as the Salty Mystic, last seen in Saivesh. A daunting task for these impulsive heroes. As the days aboard the Sutamaboras pass, Micheni researches the pathology of the infected lung tissue sample collected from the surgery on Mima, discovering the infection has been strategically and sophisticatedly designed to affect Tamrin's familial bloodline, and incorporates materials gathered from trans-dimensional sourcing. Mr. Grounder reviews the evidence that has been collected after learning that BICAM's efforts have secured a prosecuting attorney for their case, graduate of the College of Eloquence and Diplomacy, Olario Oleno. The gang also learns that Bellario Barata Bingano, another Bardic University graduate and known for his bombastic courtroom antics, ostentatious bolo tie, and stellar, if not morally bankrupt, record of success, has been retained to defend the government of Namung against the proposed accusations. Nakano climbs the rigging while sparring daily with Machete to stay fit and agile while recurring dreams of the well wall surrounded by a roiling ichor on the surface of a dead moon haunt her nightly. In the dreamscape beneath the surface of the derelict moon, Nakano sees a derelict moon, Nakano sees a burrow strewn with gargantuan bones, and the odd architecture of the nightmarish realm serves as a chilling reminder of the double tetrahedron vessel found on the ocean floor within the oil rig facility. Deepening her immersion into the horror-like dreamscape, Nakano does not awaken on the morn of the 8th of Achiel, the day that the team is set to rendezvous the ship, the Pawnbringer, with their ship. The Death Warden slumbers in her hammock surrounded by a membrane of heavy and dense inky fog. Her consciousness follows two shadowy silhouetted figures, as well as a rocking egg with a filmy wing emerging from it in a cloud of sulphurous vapor, half-formed, misshapen, and underdeveloped. An oozing ichor pours forth from the beast, emerging in the haze as Nakano's gaze drifts to the subterranean architecture, realizing that it is no longer in disrepair, watching as a geometric ship takes off from the planetoid surface. One of the shadowy figures, now seated at a command console, frantically attempting to contain a situation rapidly growing out of control. As time and space rushes past her periphery, the dreaming warden witnesses the two ambiguous figures aboard escape pods, fleeing the destruction as the moon-like planetoid surface begins to buckle. Ichor gradually seeping from the malformed creature, now eating away at the structure's foundations. Maternal feelings for the dying hatchling well up in Nakano's subconscious as Tamrin plies her convulsing form with smelling salts in the waking world, ripping her from her deep sleep by the strong odor and placing instead the deathly dreamer into a more lucid dream state in which her material body no longer shows signs of life. The dream vision pursues the escape pods, having crash-landed on the surface of a verdant world, while Masheni and Tamrin begin chest compressions and prepare to shock the unresponsive body of their gloomy yet beloved companion. The mind of the violet violence dives deeper still, observing the primordial-like ooze feeding on the psychic energy of the infant world around it, and her own. Calling on the spirit of health for aid, Masheni and Scoop carry their unresponsive comrade up to the deck as Tammy shocks her again with the energy crackling through his fingertips. Trickling into the dreamscape, Nakano hears the hysterical voices of her friends, begging her to return to them, as their disciple of storms prepares to harness the power of the tempestuous vortex he summons in the skies above the ship. Light and energy arc through the sky, striking the crow's nest as it funnels through the cerulean mage's form, who glows with brilliant electrical energy, channeling a hissing bolt of lightning into Nakano's lifeless sternum. The purple Ibkest back arches as the jolt illuminates the panicked faces of the baker's dozen and the horror-struck crew of the Sutamabura, who hunch over their fallen friend. Tamrin's horns, still smoking from the effort to revive her, gingerly gathers his beloved ally into his arms before a tender embrace as a torrent of tears begin to fall. To his Scoop's relief, a ragged leg twitches, and Tamrin feels tension return to the once still torso he holds close to his chest. Nakano's form rises limply into the air as her face and spine are vertically rent asunder, disgorging a relinquished, sparkling, azure-scaled draconic being with protruding Lichtenberg antlers. The antlers fall from her face, withering and transforming into a bone-like scythe, impaling the wooden deck before the husk of what was a former body. Taking her first breath in what has felt like eons, the draconic form fades, Nakano's spidery countenance now reasserting itself. Tamrin offers the reborn agent of death a hand to stand, and feels his life essence momentarily drain at her touch. Masheni provides a dream journal to their now no longer breathing companion, who also seems to lack a pulse. With her blood sample seeming to no longer obey the laws of gravity, Nakano comes to realize that her touch confers mild necrosis, unless a concerted effort is taken to prevent such. As the Death Warden frantically writes in her dream journal, dust from a Scoop's stone armor that seemingly represents the spirit of forbidden knowledge drifts in onto the parchment, solidifying into a stone paperweight, until his arm suddenly falls off, peeling into dozens of disembodied hands that skitter and rush the bewildered party. So we're going to pick up right there as on the deck, and in awe and shock, and somewhat stunned after all of this has occurred, a Scoop's hand has popped off. You said you dropped your journal as you were quickly writing in it all of this information that you had experienced, and you're immersed in kind of I would say like self-sustained. You did it to yourself, push yourself deeper and deeper into the dream. As you tried to write all this into your journal, you dropped the journal, realizing that a Scoop's like part of his form is like being disintegrated and being put into the journal and forming another kind of statuette. However, it comes to the point where a Scoop's arm does fall off, and it splits into a bunch of disembodied hands and like wrists that are now skittering and headed towards you. So we're actually going to start this with initiative. We're going to roll around, and everybody's going to roll initiative because you're being rushed by a swarm of disembodied or like stone-like eldritch hands.
It's always hands these days.
It always hands, isn't it?
So many hands.
Hey, I rolled a shit.
Oh, mine rolled on the floor. Hold on. Shoot.
Go, go, go.
Get it.
Oh wow, that was okay.
What do we got?
9.
Plus.
Yeah.
Are you gonna keep it or re-roll it? Because it fell on the
Oh,
floor.
I don't know. What do you think? Should I keep the one?
It's
that
up to
rolled on the
you.
floor?
I mean, it's up
I
to
think I
you.
can roll better.
Okay.
Well, if it sucks, then I screwed myself. It's worse.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
9.
All right. 9. Okay. So, Miss Shani, what did you get?
18.
18. Okay. You and the swarm of hands are tied, but I assume you have a higher dexterity score, so
I don't know. There's a lot of hands there. That could be very dexterous.
they have a +1. So,
Yes, then yes.
so
How long them fingers are?
How long the fingers? It varies.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like. I bet you, I knew you wouldn't like that. You're like, excuse me, I want to take a drink because it's gross. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna.
I got 18, but it's +0.
Okay, so it's gonna be
your
Misheni, the hand swarm, then a Scoop, then Nakano,
What'd you get?
then the
Yeah.
crew, then Tamron.
Yeah, what'd you get for your total, Tammy?
We're gonna roll
Oh,
hurt
okay.
and like
I knew
and-
the shit was bad, but like I didn't. Yeah.
rather than like have hurt and Avery and the Seeker and like all those other people like have their own thing. We're just gonna roll them all into the crew, and I'm just gonna really simplify it because for the sake of time, I don't want to prolong it any more than it has to be. Okay, cool. So Misheni, you're up first. You see this swarm of hands again. It is like this arm has fallen off of a Scoop, and they kind of like. If you had dropped like a pod of spider babies, it like scatters and then like recoils and comes back on itself and is like roiling in it. And so it's like a wave of hands that's just kind of folding over itself and like waving over itself as it just kind of rushes. Kind of like those plague rats or like a wave of
Yeah.
rats that just kind of move, and then the front wave gets pulled under the top, and it just keeps folding all over itself as it keeps moving towards you. So yeah, it's just a bunch of skittering cans that are
thanks.
just headed towards you.
I don't like this. Hold on. I think I can get all. Let me try to get all of them. And I draw like. I basically draw back. I pretend that I'm playing like air guitar, but with my bow.
Okay, you're dry firing.
No, like
Yeah,
a
and
pretend bow.
you're dry drawing.
I don't have my bow up. I'm pretending to draw.
Okay.
And I cast poisoned volley. So, So
Tell us what
please
poison-
roll con save for the hands,
Okay, cool.
because this glowing green arrow, when it hits, all creatures in a 20-foot square within range takes some poison damage if they fail.
Okay, that was a 12 for a con save.
That fails, I do believe. Yeah.
So you like pull it back, and then like a poison bow and arrow just kind of like shimmer into existence as you shoot this, and the arrow splits into a bunch of kind of like gooey vaporous green bolts that just like quills that just and hit the ship's deck and pierce a bunch of these creatures.
Yeah. So that is going to be 17 points of poison damage.
Oof. Okay. Cool.
And they are now poisoned.
They are now poisoned. Okay. Ouch.
Is that they take damage on the start of the turn as well?
No, it just means that they have disadvantage on ability checks and attacks
Oh.
for until they save from it. Do they get to save the end of their
No,
turn?
they don't.
It's just for like what, a minute?
No, it doesn't say what the limitation
says,
of the poison condition is. So we might.
It should.
It doesn't.
Does it really not?
It does not.
Well, I mean, we have to check this because it needs to like. It needs to. Is that from Deep Magic?
Yeah. The duration itself is instant, but like it wouldn't make sense for the creature to become poisoned just for like that particular.
So it usually says like until the end of your next turn
It
for 1
doesn't-
minute or until they save.
It doesn't say.
Okay. Well, so it has to. So let's double check where it is because it has to have a duration. Here we go. It doesn't say how long it's poisoned. That doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. So this spell needs some
Poison
editing.
forever.
No.
Forever poisoned.
So
what would you
60
think would
feet,
be
one action.
fair?
I think what.
It's a second level spell.
So it's either So we have to fix this because this is just it's actually mechanically broken, not like power broken, but it just is missing stuff. So we have to fix the spell. It needs to either be until the end of your next turn or until it saves, I suppose, from the spell.
Because it's not
you look-
concentration. Do you want to?
It's not a concentration.
Yeah. Do you want to do? Just
So
Is
then
there
I would say
another
probably
spell that poisons. That
yeah,
second
there's
level that you
so
can look at?
many. There's so many.
Then why don't you take a look at that?
Why don't you just do
But they all do different stuff. They all have different. Yeah, they all have different ways. I would say because it's second level, it's not concentration. I would say it's poison until the end of your next turn. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that way, it takes its whole turn poisoned and still is poisoned on your turn too, until
Yeah,
the end of your
That makes
next
a lot
turn.
of sense.
Okay, cool. Yeah, look at us fixing spells.
But otherwise, it's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Cool.
Whose
So that's
spell
my-
that is?
Yeah.
It's deep magic.
So that's my action. I'm gonna go ahead and then get.
Oh, right. To like you're basically like you're kind of huddled around in the same spot. I'd say like in the same like 15, 20 area. A Scoop was a little bit farther off because he was like summoning the lightning and it like hit the crow's nest and pulled down. So most of you guys are like no more than like 5-10 feet from Nakano, like kind of in an arc, and then spread out is in the crew that's like at their all their stations just kind of turned and facing it. Or Scoop is just a little bit farther off. So it pop off of a Scoop and head towards the group of yous that's just not a Scoop. And like so you guys are all there. But yeah, and it's like I would say it's at the moment like 15 feet from you guys.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Okay.
How many hands are there?
Do you want to count?
Too many.
Can I just got like an estimate?
I would say like anywhere between dozens to hundreds.
Oh, dang.
Wow.
That affects what I'm gonna do.
And they're so densely packed and roiling over each other. They act as like one creature though. They act as a
Oh,
swarm.
I understand. Okay.
Yeah, they act as what's called a swarm. A swarm
Gotcha.
is a swarm has some abilities that give it some protections because Yeah, you like once you do a certain number of damage to it, its like stuff gets limited in how much damage
Yeah.
it can do because there's lesser in the swarm, but it also is resistant to a lot of stuff because you have to like
Right.
you're only killing one thing at a time or like several at a time, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's just
But,
it's
like,
just
for our-
simulated.
Yeah, but essentially it's like it's like one thing.
Yeah, you'll find out
Yeah,
how
yeah.
a swarm works the more you
I
deal
see.
with it. Yeah. Cool. But yes, it is one creature.
Okay, so then bonus action, I'll channel my other selves and.
Can't hear you.
Planar- Bonus action, I'll channel my other selves and do planar warrior.
Okay.
And then. I'll use my action surge then to try to hit one of the hands. And there you go.
Does that turn your entire attack into force damage, or is it just the extra damage?
No, it turns the entire attack into.
It turns the entire attack into force damage. Okay.
Plus, I get an extra little
Okay, cool.
bit. So, attacking with my chakram, 24.
24 hits. Yep.
Okay, and then I'll attack again because, yeah, and that was higher. Okay, so for the first one. That is 15 points of force damage, and then 7 points of slashing damage.
15 points of force damage, 7 points of slashing damage, you said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So wait, so I thought the slash everything becomes force damage.
On the first attack.
Oh, you did a
Was-
second attack. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said 16 points of force. Okay. You see, and 7 points of slashing. Okay. 3. You see the force damage that hits it. It appears to like absorb quite a bit of it, and then of all like the hands that you hit with that force damage, you see them like could do mitosis and split, and they're like dozens more hands add to the group, and so it doesn't do as much damage as you thought. And then the same with the slashing damage as you throw your chakram and pull it back, because this is a swarm. It appears to like regular like based piercing, slashing, bludgeoning attacks appear to not affect it as much because like of just how many different targets there are in it. That's how like a swarm works.
Yeah.
It's resistant to that type of thing.
Sure.
So since I'm further off, wouldn't this swarm be? Wouldn't we have a reaction towards this swarm or opportunity attack?
I mean,
opportunity?
you're missing an arm.
Wait, what?
You're missing an arm, and it hasn't moved away from you just quite yet. It's still in your threatened area
Oh, okay.
because it hasn't been its turn.
Oh, I thought because you said it moved towards.
Yeah, it's
the-
it's like it's moving. Like for
Oh, okay,
like
okay,
you know
okay. I
for
understand.
narrative purposes,
Okay, okay,
it is moving. It just hasn't actually had its turn yet. Like as it like begins to constitute and start to move, Machete reacts extremely quickly, and then it will move.
Okay.
The scoop doesn't feel anything, right? Because I know came up from his arm.
I don't have an arm.
He doesn't have an arm anymore.
I know.
It like
I
tore his
know.
arm off.
I'm saying, yeah, yeah. You don't have any
So-
feelings. So.
Yeah.
Um,
And then I will.
I understand.
Yeah.
yeah.
And because these are coming towards Nakano, right?
They're coming for all of you. You guys, Nakano, and Tamron are pretty much in the same spot-ish. Like, you're in the same area. So they're going in that direction towards you guys. Yes.
Okay. I'll just interpose myself a little bit more between them and, like, Tammy and Nakano, because I'm assuming they're a little bit back. So I'll move forward and get ready to fight the swarm, basically.
Cool. You got it.
That's my turn.
You got it. So as the like splits and a bunch more hands add to it, you do see there's one errant like split, kind of like that gets squirt out from the group. That's just a larger one that seems more like gooey. That is a little bit farther away. So now you have like 2 creatures you're dealing with. The swarm that appears to have even more hands now, and like another like larger one. Think of like the Thing, but like the size of perhaps a small keg or chest. That's and it's just making those like. Upon the deck, you just all these fingers with flesh and like stone and bone just tapping and patting all over the desk. It just sounds
Awful.
The sound is just almost constant with all these tips of fingers rapping on the surface of the deck.
Okay.
Okay, that's gonna bring us to the hand swarm.
Note to self, don't hit them with force. I mean, hit them with force, but not that way. You know.
Speaking of which, I have to. Okay. So it's going to go, the other one is going to go right after this one then. The hand swarm is going to, it is going to move away from you, a scoop, if you want to take an opportunity attack with your one hand, one arm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna try to.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an attack if you'd like.
Ooh. Holy shit! But I can't say that.
Okay.
What?
So
What's happening?
I got a natural 20.
Uh-huh.
But I rolled 2 dice just for fun
No,
of it.
but remember,
I go for a specific color. So every time I roll that color, it's...
But
Wait, what's happening?
They have
I'm confused.
disadvantage on their.
Yeah, I'm confused about what color? What's happening?
He
So-
uses a color for a certain thing. Right?
So
But-
this dice is the primary dice. If whatever this dice rolls, I go for it first. I always roll this dice as well for opportunity or advantage or disadvantage, just for fun of it. Even though I don't want to.
Okay.
And they both rolled 20, so that's why I was excited.
Fun.
Oh,
That is great.
So why do you roll 2 dice? Just because you
Uh,
want to?
Yeah, click clacks, you know.
Okay. Wait, but I mean,
I feel that.
so
Yeah.
one is always just for fun; it doesn't count, and the other one.
Well, it counts.
Counts.
It counts sometimes, but not always,
Oh, you mean when you have advantage?
or disadvantage. Yes.
I see. So, but you're still only using one of those consistently, right?
Yes,
like
it's
the
only
same
this
one
one.
consistent. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Just because, like, I'm like, I didn't tell you to roll 2 dice.
No, so I just got all excited right there.
So you got a natural 20 on your opportunity attack.
On both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not that you didn't. Yeah, you got. Okay.
Yep.
Rare math.
So yes. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
What is happening over there? All right, so I think it's a melee attack. So it's
Mhm.
melee weapon attack. So I guess you're hitting it with your mace or something.
Scimitar. Or scimitar.
Okay, go ahead and roll your
How do you say
damage
it?
score.
Sim.
Scimitar.
Scimitar. Okay, I did it right the first time.
Yep.
Roll the damage.
Scimitar.
It's a sim for a scimitar.
Yeah, so you roll twice as many die, and you just add the same bonus. You don't double the bonus. So it's a d6. So you roll 2 d6,
Nine.
and then you add your strength bonus. Okay, so 9 points of damage. So again, like you are slashing into a swarm, so it doesn't do as much damage as you want it to do, but okay.
Ow.
Now it's its turn, so it's going to rush. Ooh. Yeah, I think it's going to rush Nakano, and it's going to whelm your space. It's going to like occupy the same space that you're in, as a bunch of hands start to crawl up your legs and around your feet and whelm you, and you feel like you're not touching the ground anymore because there's a bunch of hands that are not like holding the bottom of your feet, and it crawls up your waist, and it's like going up your chest, and they're all like just swarming all around you like a bunch of hand spiders just
Oh no.
so like right now you're the hand spider queen, but they're not friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're on you. So what's going to happen is that you're going to take you're gonna roll. First thing you're gonna do is roll a Constitution saving throw for me. Yeah. Okay.
17.
17. Okay, that is a success. Oh shit.
Are you making these with disadvantage?
So you're not why? Oh, because she.
They're poisoned.
That was a saving throw for it.
I know, but the hands are poisoned, so whatever.
It hasn't rolled an attack roll yet.
Okay.
Yeah. It was. It's rolling. Well, I guess it's an ability check. So.
Yep.
So I'd take the first one, which was still lower. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you're not restrained. You do succeed on your con save. You're not restrained, but you do realize that now, if something is trying to attack it, it's going to hurt you as well, because it's like all over you. You do have. You also understand, like, as you're with this, your whole like necrotic, you touching things or like absorbing the life from something. It's not that it doesn't work on this thing. It's just that there's so many of them, and they're such of a strange material, and like whether they're alive or not, it's like so weird. It doesn't seem to be like mechanically affecting them enough for you to be able to notice, especially not in this quick moment. You do take half of this. So 12. You take half of 20. You take 11 points of psychic damage from this as they kind of swarm you, and there's just kind of like this oppressive, like kind of claustrophobia, and just the field of what they are around you, just like something that shouldn't exist is now existing all over you. But they do try to like scratch and poke and prod and squeeze you, and aren't able to really do so. But they're going to try one more time, but they're doing this at disadvantage. Nope, that's not going to work. That's a 2. So they just continue to, you continue, like, as soon as they try to, some of them get enough purchase to get you on both sides and squeeze and scratch, your spider limbs that are still out are like flicking things off. And as they like fall on the ground and then pop back up and join the swarm, but you're like flicking things off with all of your spidery limbs. Yeah, it's like that scene from Lost in Space when all those little baby space spiders are swarming that dude from the future. It's wild. Cool.
Okay.
It's that was its turn. It is going to then. I do want, because it is its turn. Well, it didn't hit you. It just, so it can't do its. Vilifying presence. Okay, so I can't do that. So it's going to do, so the void hand, the other little larger hand that splits off, is going to attempt to jump and latch onto Tamrin's head. That is a 15 to hit you, Tamrin.
Disadvantage, remember?
It's not poisoned. It's a
it-
different creature.
But it was part of the bigger creature when you hit it.
Yeah,
though, no?
it spawns
Yeah.
a different fucking creature.
Yeah, it was still
That's
whatever.
A hit, man.
Yeah, it sucks. I know. Like it like split out like a puddle, and then another creature was
Can
born.
I use shield as a reaction?
Yes,
I
you
don't know
can.
what kind of attack this is. Great, then.
It is a 15 to hit you, like a.
Well, you never even gave
weapon
me a
attack.
chance to cast mage armor. So hold on.
He couldn't go over in the corner today.
Well, I mean, I didn't give you a chance to cast
There
mage
was never
armor.
there was never any threat of danger until like all of a sudden we were in combat. We were just like
Yeah,
on a boat.
Oh, you
That's
mean you
not
got
the point.
surprised? You mean like
Yeah.
things that happen in life where you get
Yeah.
surprised by danger?
I'm with
Yeah.
TZ on this one.
That's not fair. You surprised me.
Yeah, I'm mad.
It's an 8-hour duration.
Yeah, I can use shield. If I use shield, I'm good. That adds
Okay,
what?
cool.
That adds 5.
That plus
Hold on, I have
5
to-
until the beginning of your next turn or the end.
Yeah,
of
I
your
have to. Well, I do have to add. I do have to roll my crazy magic.
Yeah, because it's still a level 1 spell. So this thing just like vaults and leaps towards you, and you like last minute just kind of wave your hand, and this shimmering field and pops up, and you see this hand like go splat like up against a windshield and kind of like do that, like trying to like
Oh.
get through the shield, and it can't. It's like having a dog being like up against the window. It's like doing that until like the shield finally like shimmers and falls and it flops to the ground. Did wild magic happen?
No.
Okay, cool. So that was its attack. It is then going to like back up and arch, and you see a bunch of like the knuckles get sharper and pop out, and a bunch of all like the tendons that you see connecting all of your fingers together like begin to protrude from the hand itself and get like sharp and go, and you hear this like shimmering magnetic kind of noise as spines begin to protrude of just like abyssal black, like Vanta black, and then it just not lunges but just stretches forward, and all these little spines shoot towards you. I believe that's let me double check. I'm not sure if that's an attack or if that's a saving throw, but let me double check. It's been a while since I pulled this one out. Yeah, it's called its Icky Snap, so it is an attack. But you still have your shield up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not gonna hit you. So again, like your like shield begins to shimmer, and then you like put your other hand as you see it's another attack come out, and then all of these little spines don't like go ping 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 off your shield. They hit the shield like as if it was liquid, and they just kind of get absorbed by the shield itself, and then the shield shimmers. Well, it stays up, I guess, until the end of your next turn. So there you are. That's its turn. It is now a Scoop's turn. You didn't get hit. Good for you.
Yay. Shield is
That's
great.
him doing the
Shield
shield,
is
by the way,
really
with Against the Sun.
Oh yeah.
What's Nakano's HP at?
Get out of here, photons.
You don't know.
Welcome
Oh.
here.
I don't
I mean-
think she's not hurt. She's at full HP.
Because of the
I don't
level up,
think.
or
Yeah, because
because I did a channel divinity on everyone, so everyone's like low HP, or at least should be.
She leveled up and was reborn after all of that, if I remember.
Okay.
It channeled
Tamara.
through me though. Did that
Yeah.
hit
You
me?
took-
Did that hurt
you-
me?
Yeah, you took 50 or 40.
If it whatever damage I told
40?
you to take, I don't remember.
You didn't tell me to take damage.
Yeah, I think it was a flavor that it like traveled through you. 'cause there
Okay.
was-
No, I think I did tell him to take damage.
No.
Didn't I?
I
I
don't
don't
the
think
person
so.
That didn't take damage was Trishani. Or Mishani. Wow.
Making the deal now.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Well, I
If you
don't
took
remember
damage or
taking
not. I think you did take damage though, because you were like you said. I said you're gonna take damage. You said I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway.
I don't remember that.
But I don't
I
remember.
mean-
So I don't remember. So let's just move forward. You're about to take. I'm sure you guys are gonna take enough damage anyway. And Tamron's kind of a glass
Because
cannon.
that's
so we'll
like
figure it out.
almost all my health, if that's true.
If like here, how about we do this? If you did take damage, it would have made sense for you to take like half as much damage, even though he maxed it, because you were being a catalyst, like a conduit. So it was running through
Yeah.
you and you were discharging it, but you were
That's
still
what, no,
taking
but
some of
that's
it.
what you said, that it was like it didn't, like I was grounded, like it went through me, like and into
You were
something else, so
grounded,
I
yeah.
didn't- yeah. I think I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either like half damage or you didn't take it. I don't remember because it was a kind of like a beautiful flavor narrative moment. But
Yeah.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It's fine. We'll figure it out later.
Okay.
Like it's no big deal because you're about to get beat to shit anyway. So.
Not if I keep
that's
throwing up
good.
these
That's good.
shields.
All right, Scoop, it's your turn.
Fuck.
Wait, didn't you just sword it?
Do you still have call
Yeah.
lightning up?
That's what I'm thinking. I still have call lightning up
Yeah.
and
What's the concentration for that? Is that 10 minutes or a minute?
10.
7 minutes.
Wait, didn't you
10
just
minutes.
take?
Okay, I'd say it's up then. Yeah.
What's up?
You
No,
were swinging
call
your
lightning is what
swords.
he did. No, that was his reaction as attack of opportunity as
Oh.
the swarm was running away from him.
Ah.
Yeah, I would say like a couple minutes have passed just because the whole like wake up, oh, reborn, all that stuff. But that I think your call lightning's still up if you want it to be. Yeah, you didn't get like. You know what I will say? Why don't you do me a favor? Roll one concentration check, from the fact of like your arm being torn from your
But it's
body.
not damage. Oh, is it torn?
I mean, yeah, no, it decreases your max hit points. Like your max hit points are decreased by 25 points from losing an arm. because you lost a body part. You lost a whole body part.
No, I'm not disagreeing.
All this happens like so fucking fast. So you just need to get a 10. Just roll a 10 on a Constitution saving throw to maintain the spell. Plus your Constitution saving throw modifier.
12. I'm good.
You're good. You're fine. It's still up. Do what you like. Take your turn.
So I know the point of contact is on Nakano herself.
It's like it's occupying the same space as Nakano, correct? If that's what you mean. The swarm is.
And no one else is around that would be affected by the 5-foot radius.
I mean, Tamern and Masheni are right next to them.
God damn it.
What are you doing? Stim it out. Stim it out. Yeah.
I mean,
No.
Yeah, you got to make a decision.
I know.
Or we're moving on.
I can
I
take a
hold my
little
turn?
lightning scoop. Just do it.
I'm going to start counting down.
Hurt me,
Okay,
Daddy.
I'll do.
Hurt me, Daddy.
Hurt me, Daddy?
Is
Excuse me.
that what Tammy just said? That's what Tammy
Goodness
just
gracious.
Trying to lighten the mood. It's scary out here.
Said. Yeah.
I'll do call lightning then. Just
Okay.
non-channel divinity.
Thank you.
Okay, so is that a dex save or what is that? Is that a dex save?
It's Dex, yes.
Okay, so Nakano, the Swarm, Masheni, and Tamrin all need to roll dexterity saving throws. Oof.
I'm not good at those.
The Void Hand's there too, as well. Okay.
Yes.
It's 11 for me.
Don't forget, Nakano, you have evasion, so if you succeed on the dex save, you take 0 damage, and if you fail, you take half. I think, yeah, because
That's-
you're level 11 now.
that's right.
Insane. For real?
That's a
Yeah,
that's a
that's
rogue thing,
rogues.
yeah. It's only for dex saves. Because they just like
Rogues are OP.
they're pretty fucking cool. Yeah, they're awesome. Okay, so what's your DC?
17.
17. Okay, the Void Hand succeeded, so it's gonna take half damage,
Nope.
but the
Ill-fated word.
ill-fated word does I have to put a
So-
minus D4?
Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
is
No
it-
matter what I roll, I'm gonna fail because it was exactly a 17.
Perfect.
So it fails. So it's gonna take Void Hand's gonna take full
Oh!
damage. Swarm is gonna take full damage. Nakano, what'd you get?
26.
26. Nakano succeeds, so she takes no damage. Tamron, what'd you get?
11.
So you fail, so you're going to take full damage. All right. Go. Well, how much
Could've
damage
like-
was the call lightning then, Cameron?
We'll find out. 25.
Okay.
25.
Holy shit. Damn, bro.
Wee.
Would you cast it at a higher level?
Yep, it was at level 5.
Oof. You cast it at 5th level? Oh, you casted it before at 5th level. Right. During the
Yeah.
last session. Oh, shit. Yeah.
That's why
Fuck.
I used everything in that call lightning.
You see the Void Hand get like arc of lightning hits the Void Hand and just kind of puts it into a cinder of charcoal as the hand stands there still until it falls into ash. What just happened?
What?
I wanted to get your attention.
That girl trying to get my attention and she shot a hairband at me and it hit me right in the face.
Hurt me, Daddy.
I'm sorry. I wanted to hit your shoulder. I
What
bet
do you
aim.
want?
the mother of your child.
Send me
Oh,
things.
they don't make the salad that I like anymore, so I'm looking for something else. Sorry.
I
God,
almost took
so
his
much
eye out.
abuse. Oh man, does art imitate life, or does life imitate art? Okay, that's your action. Scoop, you want to do anything else?
Can't
The void hand's gone, by the way. Like you like turned it into char and ash, and it collapses in on itself, and it's
Good.
gone.
Get out of here.
I guess Tamarin's the one that took the most damage, so I'll use Healing Word because the spell was already up, so it doesn't count as a spell for Call of Lightning.
Yep.
No, that's not how it works. Oh,
No?
Yep.
wait,
Yeah.
no, that is how it works.
Yep.
Because you didn't use a spell slot.
Actually-
That's
Correct.
correct.
Do I have Spiritual Weapon?
And actually, is Call Lightning an action or a bonus action on subsequent
Call Lightning's
turn?
an
It's an action.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have Spiritual Weapon, so I will heal Tamarin.
Tamron,
He
you're
doesn't
being
have mage
healed.
armor.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How much?
How much?
How much?
Quickly.
Not that much. 6.
Okay, cool.
you.
That's the end of a Scoop's turn. We now move on to Nakano. It's your turn. You're being swarmed by all these hands. Unless a Scoop you want to move, but
Disadvantage, right? If I wanted to use any attack.
But I'm flanking with you.
no, you're not. So you rolled that con save well, so you're not restrained. So you're not at disadvantage. You just like at the moment your speed is halved. So like when you move, you'll just move with you as you try to like wade through all of these hands. But everything else, you're fine because you're continually flicking them off, but they keep like popping back on.
All right, cool. I'd like to attack. I could use my new weapon now, right?
Cam, or Sean, can you turn her up just a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's better.
So I leveled up, right? I could use my new weapon, the scythe.
Yeah. Do you want to grab your scythe that's embedded into the deck right now?
Yeah.
Did I send you
Yeah, I
stats
do.
for
So
it?
I thought it,
no,
like,
but
went
I think
into-
it was triple damage, right? Or something like that.
It's triple damage, and so on a critical hit, rather than it being double, it's triple.
Okay.
That's what it does, and it's a scythe. So it's basically like a glaive, a two-handed glaive, which is and it's special effect. It's a +1 weapon. That's a two-handed glaive that you're proficient with, and on a critical hit, rather than you rolling double the die, you roll triple the die.
Okay.
It has an ability called Death Comes a Knocking. So it's a 1d10 slashing. Heavy, reach, two-handed, meaning that you could also attack something that's 10 feet away from you, but you're attacking your space, so it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to use that. 1d10?
1d10 slashing, yeah.
She
It is magical slashing +1, so it's a +1 weapon, so +1 to the attack and +1 to the damage. Just like your Blade of Haladriel.
and could she still get advantage from me being flanking with it, or no? Because of the swarm.
It's very like I've never really quite understood how you could like flank a swarm while it's also on somebody else, especially if you're the person that it's swarming. I'm gonna say like just because of how awkward it would be to do that, I don't think that would be possible. But if the swarm like wasn't on somebody, for example, if like you and Tamarin were flanking Nakano as she's being swarmed, I'd be fine with that because it is in the same space as Nakano and it's being flanked. But Nakano herself, I don't think she would be able to gain advantage from being able to flank it because she's in the same space as it. She's not adjacent to it, splitting its attention. And she's also being swarmed by it, so it's still super awkward to attack herself and not hit herself.
Could she move in between Tammy and I and then get?
That would be advantage for both you and just you and Tammy,
Yeah.
not for her. She still has the sneak attack though because she still has an ally within 15,
Right.
within 5 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Does that make sense? Yeah. If she
Yeah.
pulled herself out of it, then she could. But that's like you can attempt to like escape its grasp via an acrobatics or athletics check, but that would be your action. It's up to you. Do you want to attack it or do you want to escape it?
Attack.
Okay, go ahead. Roll your attack.
Okay. That's 10. Hold on. Where is it? Does 10 hit?
So it's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same bonus that your Blade of Haladriel would have, as far as like,
right.
to the attack.
So I roll D10.
Well, you have to
Roll
roll the
D20.
d20 to hit.
Yeah, I got a 10.
Oh, even with the
Yeah.
bonus. Okay.
Your deck.
Oh no, not with the bonus. Sorry.
Yeah, because you have to
with the
add your
bonus.
proficiency, your dexterity modifier, the +1 for the weapon. Like
so
so,
dirty
whatever
20.
your attack bonus is for your Blade of Haladriel, it's the same.
I got it. So that would be
Like a 17 or an 18 or something like that.
my dex modifier is +5, proficiency.
It's plus
plus
4, so that's
4.
9, and then the
9.
+1, so it's a total of +10. So it's 20. You rolled a 10, you got
20.
a dirty 20.
Nick,
Yeah, I
you're
got
not
it.
scary.
That was fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't have a lot of hit points, but it doesn't matter. 'Cause it makes a whole lot of sense of her being like this close to death, but her just also
Yeah.
like pulling people close. One
But
foot
also,
in,
she
1
has
foot out.
twice as many hit points because she can like die twice.
Yes. Like, well, that is. She doesn't have that ability yet, but she will. I think, if I'm
Oh,
sure.
no.
I think I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Yes.
When do you get that ability? It's the I am become death, right?
Yeah, I think that's nice.
Yeah.
That's not happening yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's level 15, I think.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, sometime around 14 or 15.
Yes, 14 or 15. Like she dies and then becomes a spirit of herself, and as long as she can like get another body to make her new body, she like restarts. Yeah, it's wild. Okay, cool. So 20 hits. Go ahead. So not a critical hit, but a stay dirty 20. So it's a D10 plus all of your sneak attack and plus all of the same like damage bonus you would get from the Blade of Haladriel.
Okay. This is new. Where's my D20? 10. Okay. 4, and then my sneak attack. So 1 second.
Yep. Now that you're level 11, I think it's 5d6.
It is. Yeah.
Woo!
That's scary.
Yummy.
Oh shoot.
Oh no,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
nice.
Level 11 is 66.
Oh my god.
6?
Yeah,
66?
for sneak attack on level 11. Yeah.
She's casting fireball. basically, every single
Amazing.
time.
Yeah, at level
Okay.
19 and 20,
So
the rogue gets
10.
10d6.
Why do I feel like sorcerers are
15.
bad?
20.
They're not. You got some cool meta magic stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 28 then.
Yes.
28 points of damage. Okay, so again, it is slashing damage. It's magical slashing, but it's still slashing damage when you're attacking the swarm. So it doesn't do as much damage as you thought, but it still does like a nice 14 points of slashing damage. It does mess it up. It's not quite like hurt. There's a lot of them, but you do quite a bit of damage to this thing. And it does not like it. You're pulling off a lot. It's not quite at the point
And
where
now I
even-
run.
Run away.
So it's going to go with you, unless you use an action to try to separate yourself from it. It's all over you. It's going to move with you, and you can only use move half speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what's around me? Is there like anything I can hide?
I mean, you're on the deck of the ship.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, trying to hide from something that's attached to you is
It's hard.
pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gonna go overboard if
Do you want to
Okay.
jump off the ship?
They-
You probably could reach that if you want to.
They are stone hands.
that might be. Yeah, might
As long
be
as they're not
smart.
pumice stones.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe I could like rope my. I don't want to rope it. No, I just want to jump.
You want to jump off the side of. You want to just go overboard?
Yeah, let's
Sean's
do
like,
it.
Okay, cool. So Nakano, like you see Nakano like struggling as she's wading through all these hands, and she picks herself up with her spider limbs and just. And you see like someone up in the crow's nest, that is all charred from the lightning that had hit the crow's nest with all of the smoke and ash on their face. That's like barely alive. Go like, man, overboard. Oh. Yeah, so you jump into the water. We're gonna get to what happens there. You guys can't see Nakano anymore. That is now the crew's turn. The
Can
crew.
I take an opportunity attack on the creature because it left my threatened area?
You can. You will
Awesome.
also hurt Nakano. That's what happens when it's in her space.
What do you think?
7-3. Edit that out.
Yeah.
Edit what out?
Yeah, it's a hard decision, right?
Yeah. Your AC's okay, yeah?
I mean, if it gets damaged, no matter what her AC is, you're attacking it. If it gets damaged, she takes it
Okay.
takes half damage, and she takes the other half.
No.
That's how it works.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if you'd know that, though.
Yeah, I just. Yeah, no.
Okay. So it jumps off, and Tamron can't because he already used his reaction. So she jumps off. Sploosh. It's now the crew's turn. The crew rushes to a bunch of them rush to the side, and Captain Avery goes like, "Hoist, drop the anchor. Make sure we don't lose her." And oh no, Avery's not here. Avery and Hurt aren't here, right?
They're not here yet.
Because they're on the Panbringer.
We're meeting them.
Right, because
here
the Secret
today.
and
Oh, yeah, we're
Sutamabora
not
is
on the
here. So
Panbringer.
sorry. The crew, drop anchor. They take most of their action to drop anchor so that they don't lose you and just sail right past you because the ship is not standing still; it is moving. And so, but even so, it takes a while to drop the anchor. So Nakano is now 120 feet away from the ship.
We had set our anchor, so
Yeah.
Oh, you had?
Yes.
Oh,
so the
okay.
Palmbringer
I'm sorry.
made up
So
with
then,
us.
yeah. So then you can be there. The crew does throw out a lifesaver and a rope out there. They're
Well,
gonna
we're
roll
fine
to see
then.
if they see.
Yeah.
They
We're
they
not even.
don't.
We're not moving.
Yeah, they don't see
Whatever.
Nakano though. From what they can, and they're just what they're doing is that you see a couple of them grab some harpoons and just prep an action for if they see something bad to try to stab it, and a bunch of others have other ropes and stuff to prep an action for if they see her to try to get her back on board should they need to because they don't want her to drown.
Nakano
Tamron
is
then is-
scary. Are they going to accidentally shoot a harpoon at Nakano?
That's Tamron. It's your turn.
I would like to get in position to try to lightning bolt both creatures at the same time.
The void hand is gone. It got disintegrated. It got turned to ash by a Scoops
Okay.
thing. So the only one that's left is the swarm, which is on Nakano, which you can't see. You can rush to the side of the ship, to the starboard
So
side.
I'll do that and just hold my action to lightning bolt it when it appears.
Okay, cool. So, because you're holding a spell, are you holding it at 3rd level or higher?
I guess I'll do 4th.
Okay, cool. So if your trigger doesn't happen, you still expend the spell slot, but the spell doesn't go off. Does that make because it fizzles?
Okay, what
Does that make
about-
sense? It's fine. It's just that's what you know. If it
Yeah.
comes back to your turn and you haven't triggered yet,
Sure. Oh, really?
Yeah.
yeah, that's what happens. If you hold an action that consumes a spell slot, you're
Cantrip
consuming the spell slot. But if the trigger doesn't happen, the spell slot is wasted, and yeah.
Can I jump overboard and look and see if I can see her underwater?
Yeah, you can jump overboard if you want. You go. Do you want to? Just so I
Yeah.
know.
I
Okay.
don't like that smirk on your face, but
I know. He said it
Go.
was such a
He's
you
hiding
want to?
something, Yeah. Oh, really? You want to do that thing? Okay.
You clamber up onto the side and go sploosh into the water, and you hear again, "Another man overboard." And you see this person now shimmying down the central mast that's kind of falling over a little bit. You'll need to repair this ship if you want this ship to be full speed sail seaworthy type of thing because it's it took a whole fucking lightning bolt. That's
we got
that's no. You sploosh into it. Go ahead and roll a perception check while you're in there.
I'm not good at those. My character is
This just said you wanted to do. You wanted to jump into the water and look.
Ooh. 19.
19. Okay, that's pretty good. You stick your head, you dive into the water, and you open up your eyes, and you see down below you, now like 15 feet below the surface of the water, is Nakano grabbed by all this swarm, like roiling over her. All you can see is like one glimpse of her horn and her eyes, and like one of her spidery limbs sticking out from the swarm as they're just like spider's nest all over her as she's like reaching out with one of her limbs and one of her hands. That's fully sinking to the bottom of the ocean. As they're all attached to her. Do you want to go up to her?
Can I get there in my turn?
I would say running, jumping. I would say, yeah, you could probably just get to her if you want to try to grab her. If you want to use your action to try to grab her, I'd say.
Action, though.
Okay. You can get next to her, but what do you want to do with your action?
I wanted
I'd say
to
that's
try
about
to.
as far as you can get to.
I guess I wanted to cast fly on her to see if that would help her not sink.
Okay. You can do that because you can touch her hand.
Because I have
Yeah,
to
you
go
can do
to
that.
touch her.
Yeah, you can
Okay,
get her
well,
right
I'll
next
do
to her.
that.
She's reaching out one of her hands, one of her hands, one of her spider limbs, like her eye, and part of her horn is like the only thing you could see because the rest of it is just covered by crawling hands all over her.
Yeah. And then, oh, crazy magic goes. We got crazy magic, folks.
Excellent.
Crazy
It's gonna be
man.
fun. Oh, okay. Did you put what you want?
Yeah. Just send it back to me. Okay? Thanks. Ramsey.
Crazy magic goes.
Crazy
Crazy
magic.
magic.
Crazy magic is 34.
34.
So close to potted petunia again.
I think it really is really close to Petunia again.
It really? No, I think it was 43. Was
It's 42, yeah.
42? Is it? Yeah.
Okay, so here's what happens. This is beautiful. As you touch Nakano, the swarm of like the hand swarm is going to use its reaction called One of Us, and it's going to reach out and make you part of the swarm. Like it's going to now both of you are covered. It's going to crawl across her arm, and a bunch of hands crawl across her arm and grab onto you and start going up your bicep and up to your shoulder, and like you're sinking now too. Granted, she has fly, so on her turn she can move, but like you are now attached in the same swarm. But it's now whelmed both of your bodies. But your wild magic pops as this is happening, and for the next hour you grow extra joints on your skin and forearms, granting advantage on dexterity ability checks. So your arm that you're reaching out, that is now being swarmed by all these hands, like gets like 4 extra elbows and goes and gets really long, kind of hag-like. And so you continue to grow a bunch of joints on that arm so that it's like Jacob's ladder. These things are crawling up your arm, and your arm just keeps getting longer, so they just can't reach you.
That's gross.
Yeah, it's nasty. The whole thing is absolutely disgusting. So technically they're still on you, but not really. We're gonna do some cinematic fun stuff with this. But yeah, that's what's happening right now. You do have to say, is like, 'cause the moment they touch you, you do have to roll a con save though.
Aren't they technically touching me though? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. I said the moment they touch. That's what I'm saying. You have to roll it right now.
oh, okay. Oh, I see. I understand. It's only dexterity saving throws. I get advantage on you. So
Correct.
11.
11.
Oh no.
Okay.
No. Sorry, 15.
15. Okay. So yeah, you maintain concentration on fly, and you're gonna take.
Was that a success or?
Wait, 15? I'm sorry. Was it
Yeah.
11 or 15?
15.
Okay, so then no, you're good. You're good. Okay, that's the end of Tamrin's turn. Then we're gonna go back to the top, which is Machete.
So you're flying. Okay, you both are. All right.
Nakano has the fly condition. She has the spell on her, but she just hasn't gone to be able to do anything with it.
Yeah.
She, for the moment, she's like, I guess, become neutral buoyancy. Ish. I mean, we'll see. We won't know until it's her turn, but you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Wait. Oh,
Like
shit.
she can, as her movement, like go up, but she can fly. But go, it's your turn.
Yeah. No, What's up, Sean?
Nothing. Never mind.
Okay. I'm I'm going to.
She starts running. I'm going to, and she's gone.
I'm gonna hold my action. I'm gonna hold just a couple of arrow shots at this, just because I can't see.
So you run to the starboard side of the ship,
Yeah.
and you draw your bow
Yeah, ready to let loose two
when you see
volleys.
an enemy.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it. All right, that's Michendi's turn. It is now the hand swarm's turn. It doesn't come until Nakano's turn, but it's going to do. Okay, cool. It is going to use half of its movement to try to. I think here's the deal. It has the ability where it can use half of its movement to, like, if there's something next to it, involve that in the space that it's also whelming and like kind of start expanding itself, as long as there's stuff that it can attach onto. But as long as you're still adding joints to your arm, I think that you're kind of keeping up with how fast it's attaching itself to you. So it is touching you, but you're not whelmed. Does that make sense? Like, it's not all over you. Cameron, does that make sense?
It's not.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just keeping
It's touching
pace
me,
with,
but it's not whelming me.
yes. So it's just keeping pace. So by using half of its movement. So it's going to have its movement to try to keep pace with that, and then it's going to dig and scratch at Nakano. It's no longer poisoned, by the way. Oh, trash! It can't just. It's not being able to find purchase. It's going to try one more time. Nope, can't do that. Yeah, that's all it can do for right now. It's the Scoop's turn.
I'm gonna run to the side of the boat or the ship and cast banishment on Nakano.
You can't see Nakano.
Oh no!
No, she's under the water.
I thought I was able to see her hand still.
No. Tamron was able to see the hand because he dived under the water, and he swam to her.
Shit.
Pool party.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pool party. I won't dive in.
Okay, you're gonna dive in.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have some time adjusting because I'm not even sure. Is my entire arm like completely gone? Like just
Yeah, you have one
my
arm.
shoulder? Oh shit!
So you
I'm
said
gonna
you dived
feel
in,
like
so
fucking
you dived in.
turtles.
You have one arm. Here we go.
I'll come get you a scoop. What are you doing? Bye.
I don't know.
You're like Geronimo. You're like half man overboard.
Use your feet.
All right, I'm gonna do a perception check real quick. For
You
Nakano.
realize as you jump into the water that you are unable to tread water with one arm. So
What? You can't do it with my legs either.
you can do with your legs with one arm, but that's
got
it's
legs and one
difficult.
arm.
I'll say, like, in order to swim at all, you're gonna have to make constant athletics checks because you need to make up for not having an arm.
I'm coming in.
I'm coming in. Wait, I can't get out. Help.
Help.
Help is on the way.
But you're diving right now, so it's more of like moving up and moving about. Your speed is still halved. I would say you can roll roll a perception check for me real quick to see if you can see what's going on.
12.
12? Really?
Yeah.
Oh
7
shit!
out of
So
5.
you don't see Nakano, most likely because the darkness and blackness of all the stones that are around her kind of meld
I
into the
do have
blackness
night
of
vision,
the
or-
down. It's just because like there's no difference between the color of her blackness to the blackness of the deep dark depths where the sun doesn't happen anymore, so you don't see her. But you do see this like ridiculously multiple elbowed arm that just goes into the depths from Tamron, and you see Tamron there with these like hands going climbing up these arms, and this like very Tamron goes like underwater, and you see like a bubble come from his mouth as like another elbow happens, and it's not pleasant experience. He's definitely in pain when this is happening, but you do see just what looks like hands just coming from the depths and crawling up like his now 16 elbowed arm.
And I'm gonna use Misty Step to get to Tamron, because why not?
Okay, cool. Yeah, you can right to Tamron. You still can't see Nakano.
What's the point?
No. I mean, like you could. Yeah, you
Isn't her
stayed up.
horn
Can't.
still sitting out?
You rolled
Like,
a 12. You can't see her. Like, you can get to Tamarin and you see his really long arm now going into, which is like why it like Nakano has kept sinking because it hasn't been her turn to be able to fly. She still has fly, but it's like. And so, but it like the arm is now gone so down that it fades into obscurity, and you just see the things crawling up. Technically, like they're a swarm, but this is weird. But go ahead. You Misty stepped, bonus action. You have an action.
I can't do much else. I can heal Tamarin again. No, I can't.
No.
I can't do anything.
Uh-huh. All right, you're there, and you notice like as you're there, as you Misty step, there's this like bubble right next to you, Tamarin. And you look, and a Scoop's there, and he's like, and he doesn't.
Does he look like he's struggling because he has one arm?
He is struggling. You see him like slowly 1 foot, 2 foot falling beneath you and like trying to stay up with you and like unable to do so.
I love how you do two arms instead of one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not my turn.
I would say
I
like
just grab
yeah. For right now, like just for flavor, he's kind of sinking and you kind of hold on to him. That's fine. But you now also have his weight on you too, so like it's complicated. Like he'll still have to roll when he wants to now swim in or like tread water. He has to roll athletics checks. Okay, so that's a Scoop's turn. We're going to move on to Nakano. Nakano.
Sorry, this is a question though. Is my go-go gadget elbows? Is it pushing Nakano away or is it pushing me up?
No, it's more like just giving slack as more Nakano falls and it becomes taut. It just produces another elbow, and like that's about it. You're about at the length of now like how many like it says multiple like joints and everything. I mean, I think 16 elbows is enough. I don't think we're gonna need to give you any more.
You have 16 elbows?
Yeah, it's like this one really long hag arm. It's just
Cutting me off.
yeah.
No more elbows for you,
I think
sir.
yeah. I think it's a little. Oh, it does say. Wait, I'm sorry. It does say. For the next hour.
No.
So maybe not.
Am I gonna be able to hug the world? Like, what? It's just for an hour. I just get more arms.
You get more joints. You don't get like more arms.
It doesn't stop. Like, I have no control over this.
It technically like as far as like as written and as like intended, it probably just means like you get a couple extra joints and it allows you to be more limber, so you get extra like advantage on dex. But this is more fun, so this is what we're doing.
I see.
Yeah, so I guess if you want to keep making elbows, you can. At some point, you're going to be like, okay, but anyway, it's Nakano, your turn. You realize you can fly. You're surrounded by these things.
I choose to keep making elbows.
You're flying.
Okay, so, but at the start of your turn,
Bam!
you're, hold on. At the start of your turn, you're still whelmed by this thing, so I want you to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Mm. Ten.
10. You feel some
How far is she?
underwater a lot now.
Well, what's a lot?
I'd say like she's probably 50 feet underwater now
Damn it.
because she's sinking pretty fast and the arm keeps getting longer. And
Sorry.
it's,
All right.
um,
Out of range.
I would say, yeah. So you feel some of the hands like scratch and like protrude and poke at like your skin until they start to like make slashes and tiny little holes in it, and like little scarabs. They start to crawl under your skin and like into your body and like grab onto the tendons of your musculature and like stretch, and you start to like feel the itch of them like going under your skin. A bunch of them start to go inside of you. Oof. Okay.
Oh no.
You take 23 points of psychic damage as these things crawl into you and just fill you with terror. You're also afraid of these things now, meaning you can't get closer to them, but they're on you. But you also have disadvantage on basically all attacks and ability. It's attack. It's not saving throws, is it? I think it's just attack and ability checks as long as you can see them, or they're within line of sight and they're on you. So there's no, you just are always afraid until you're not afraid anymore. Which means you just have a disadvantage on a lot. You're not restrained and grappled though, because they're choosing to do a different type of thing. But yeah, you took 23 points of psychic damage. Now it's your turn. And you're afeared.
So, can I roll to twice? I guess a disadvantage to get out of here. Just
Oh,
go
if you
up,
want to
swim
try
up.
to.
Yeah.
You're not restrained, so if you want to, you can move your movement. You're just moving at half your movement. You can fly up now that you have fly on you. You're just going to bring these
Yeah, I'm
things
gonna
with you.
But it's
Okay.
If you want to break their hold on you, that is an action to make a check.
but it'd be half the fly speed, right?
Yeah, which is 30 feet.
I think I'd like to first get out. Then
Okay, so do you want to use your action to make an acrobatics or athletics check to try to get out?
yeah.
Okay.
Acrobatics.
It is at disadvantage because you're afraid.
But she's so good at acrobatics.
I am. $22.
At disadvantage? Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn.
You take you take a couple of your spidery limbs and dig them under your skin, pursuing these things that are burrowing into your body, and grab onto them, very kind of scalpel and non-invasive surgery style, and grab onto them, and you can hear the sound as your skin is now loose as you pull a bunch of these things out, and you, Spider-Man, push all of your limbs down and push yourself up, and all these things scatter in the water as they try to kind of shrimp attach themselves to each other again, and start crawling up. Sean starts crawling up Tamrin's arm again, and now they're only linked to Tamrin. And as Tamrin begins sinking,
Wasn't he holding on to?
he was holding on to her. Yeah, I mean, do you want to let go of Tamrin's hand or not?
Yeah.
You do want to let Sean's face.
Wah, wah, wah.
You let go of Tamrin's hand, and
What? Let me visualize what's happening. What?
I was holding on to her, first of all.
yeah.
Why are you
so
holding on to me?
To stop you from drowning and to give you fly.
Oh yeah, let's not hold. Let's not break that, just in case.
okay.
Yabby, I'm out of there.
So let me describe this all in one. So do you want to move? Do you want to go up?
I
Do you want to break the surface? So in order to break the surface of the water,
break
you'll
the
also
surface.
you'll have to. Well, now that you're broken, you have full movement. So yeah, with your movement, you can get 10 feet and fly 10 feet above the water if you want to.
Will that make it back to the ship?
You're flying. You'll be floating 10 feet
Flying.
above the water.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and you still have your
Okay.
bonus action
Yeah.
if you want to use your bonus action to dash back aboard the ship, if that's something you want to do.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay,
me get
cool.
back.
So let me paint a picture for you. Is what happens here.
I
So-
regret
Tell
jumping.
us how this works.
Yeah. So Nakano digs her fighter limbs into her body after these things, pulls a bunch of them out, and then pretty much Superman herself up, Matrix Neo style, and as bubbles follow her, and a bunch of the just like that that one witch in Looney Tunes about whenever she clicked her heels and ran, all those
Chisel.
bobby pins were in her area. You see, rather than the bobby pins, it's all these hands just skittering, and then they try to shrimp to attach each other, and they grab on to now for what was limp because there's slack in it now. Because you're here, Tamron, you're here, your arm is all the way down to her, and she goes up. So now there's slack, and a bunch of your elbows bend and turn into a U, and a bunch of those hands grab onto the U of your hand and start crawling up. And then the tension gets taut as you get pulled up like a kite, or like a reverse kite as Nakano goes bursts through the water and alights onto the ship with an arm that's just like an anchor chain that's over the side of the ship down into the water as you see a bunch of hands now like attaching themselves to the side of the ship and spreading out. Imagine the middle of your arm that Nakano was holding to, like your mid elbow, that there's a bunch of hands there that are now spreading in both directions. To you, the body formerly known as Tamron Hole, and Nakano that's up on top of the ship. That's what happens.
Since the monster is now in sight, pop off my...
Yeah, you can shoot it. Yeah, absolutely.
25 and...
I do want...
And
Go ahead.
15.
15? You only... Oh, you hold an action, which if you have extra attack, I guess you can attack twice, isn't it?
I would
guess so,
imagine.
yeah.
I would think so.
Yeah, I think you can do that, yeah. So that means... I'm sorry, it was 15 and what?
The first one was like 25 or 26.
Yeah, they both hit. Go ahead.
Okay.
Are you doing your planar warrior nonsense?
No, because that's a bonus action, and I don't want to create more little babies.
Okay.
So that's only 14 points of damage.
Okay, 14 points of damage, and it's piercing, so it's half to
Yeah.
7. Okay, this thing is... we'll see. That was... the crew is going to throw their harpoons and stuff.
What's
Oh,
going
no.
on, Sean? I just saw you like this. Like...
I was reading my player's handbook.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like hiding away from the hands or something. Or
Okay,
like
so
that.
a bunch of like harpoons like pierce and pin a bunch of the hands to the side of the ship, and as they do, like a bunch of them kind of disintegrate and turn to like gravel and dust. But one of them, because one of the crew rolled a natural one, just hits the center of the hands, which is where Tamron's elbow is, and just pin Tamron's arm and elbow straight to the side of the ship. And Tamron, you're in the water, and you feel just something go straight through your arm and pin you to like the side of wood in the ship. And so he's like,
I think.
and yeah, you take 6 points of piercing damage.
Ow.
And that's the crew's turn. Tamron, it is your turn. At the top of your turn, what I want you to do is I want you to roll either a dexterity or a strength saving throw to see if from all of the momentum and like the G-forces that were pulled up by Nakano, if you can hold on to a scoop and not leave him behind. This is ridiculous.
It's very silly. I rolled another natural one.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
This is going in jail.
Tamron looks at you, Scoop, and grabs him, and he smiles like he's got you, and then he just yoink, just pulled straight up, and you do that whole thing where you're left behind, but your momentum is moved, so you just turn upside down and float there for a bit, and you're almost belly up as you continue to sink downward. But we'll talk about what's going on with you, Tamron. It's your turn. You're about like 5 feet from like underwater and pinned. Your now super long arm is midpoint. It's pinned to the side of the ship. It's being swarmed by hands. That's now going towards you, and they're using your arm, your big old arm as like a tightrope to you and to everyone else on the ship.
I'm just gonna lightning bolt.
Oh, you also need to roll a con
away
save at the
from
top
that.
of your turn because they're on you.
Oh.
To see if they burrow into your skin.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. That's cool. Another natural one.
Are you
Oh my
serious?
god!
What the heck?
I think you need to toss that. Toss it.
That's a different dice. That was another
a-
one. I'm running out of that.
Jail Dale.
Well,
Jail dice.
I'm gonna roll with my left hand. I'm putting my right hand in jail.
There you go.
Whichever, just switch hands. It'll make it feel like it's a different person.
God damn it, TJ.
That is, you take, was it 19 plus...
that work?
You take 22 points of psychic damage as this thing pulls your elbow cap off, kind of like just kind of like snaps it away and starts crawling up of your bicep and all the other elbows, and it's now crawling under your skin in both directions.
Yep.
It's your turn.
Gonna just like lightning bolt in the direction of my arm, kind of like.
Oh, with your other arm?
Send the lightning. Yeah, just kind of send the lightning through my arm.
Okay.
At
Cool.
these things.
Uh,
It doesn't hurt me. I can't hurt myself with lightning, can I?
Technically, so attack rolls against this thing, while they're whelming somebody, they take half, and the person that they're whelming takes half. But this is a saving throw. However, your arm is pinned against the thing, so you'll get disadvantage on the dexterity saving throw, and it just has to roll a dexterity saving throw.
I'm just confused.
So it's a saving throw, not an attack roll, right? So it has an ability where if it gets hit with an attack, what it means is a required attack roll, it takes half of the damage of the attack, and the thing that it's whelmed, like that's its surrounding and it's all over, takes the other half. But this is an attack roll, it's a saving throw. But you're still hitting where it is, which is on you, and your arm is literally pinned with a harpoon onto the ship. So in an attempt to try to move your arm out of the way, it's going to be very, very difficult from your bolt while trying to hit it. So you'll get the dexterity saving throw of your own lightning bolt against yourself at disadvantage, but it'll just be rolling
So it could
straight.
hurt me.
Yes, it very well could hurt you.
Even if I succeed, I would still take half of my lightning damage.
That is correct.
I can't do that. I will die. So.
Yeah, this thing is under your skin now. There's a lot of them that are under your skin. It's really hard to hit it or hurt it without also hurting you. It's like kind of like those scarabs in the Mummy that are under your skin. You have to like cut open yourself to get them out.
I could use shocking grasp without that.
Oh yeah, that'll work. That wouldn't hurt you. That'll just use yourself as like a conduit. That's an attack roll though, right?
Yeah, so does that also hurt me?
Yeah, it'll also hurt you.
Can you try to use your action to pry them out of your skin?
Yeah, I guess I gotta do that.
I love how.
Can I use my magic pickaxe? And because they're like made out of stone, can it kind of help me somehow?
You identify what stone it is as you're taking it out.
Why don't you try? Let's see what happens.
All right, let's pry them out.
Well, go ahead and roll a. You can either get acrobatics or
weapons. So.
Yeah, so you can either roll. Damn, dude, this is so wonky. Go ahead and just roll a athletics or acrobatics check for me as you're doing this.
All right. Nine.
Okay.
Today, bro.
So Tamron grabs his other arm with his long arm with his other arm and starts like climbing it like a rope and standing on it and using it as like leverage to pull himself up via his own arm because his own arm is so long, very Mr. Fantastic style, and like try to get closer where these things are as he's holding onto his own arm and like barely like this. He bites onto his own arm to stay there, pulls out his pick, and starts like trying to pry out of these things. As like single file, they're coming to you under your skin. You dig into your own skin, pull the scales back, and pull one out, and it's working. You're just doing as fast as they're burrowing into you. So it's kind of a zero-sum game. But you're no longer underwater, and you're now dangling from your pinned arm on the ship as you're holding yourself on your own arm and digging the things out. It's quite the sight.
Very close to going down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ouch. That'll be then Macheni, you're at the top.
Okay. All right, count another man overboard.
Can't swim.
Oh yeah, you can say that, yeah.
Bonus action, just say a scoop can't swim.
Yeah. While your arm is in your mouth. A scoop can't swim.
And I just give you a thumbs up as I do a swan dive action. I cast Long Strider on myself and I go down. I can swim. I have a swim
Yeah,
speed.
yeah,
So,
you're good.
my
And you're
fins
super
pop
fast now.
out, and I go down to find a scoop.
I think you could absolutely. You're fast. You have a swim speed, and you long strider. You can absolutely get to him.
Yeah. Okay.
That's your action and your movement, however.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you can get to him, and I'll say like you can grab onto him to prevent because you have a full swim speed. You're far more dexterous in the water.
Yeah.
You can grab onto to prevent him from sinking any further
All right.
as you Baywatch him.
Yep. That's what I do. And then yeah.
And then it's the hand swarm's turn. Okay, as this thing, I'll say like as you're doing this and prying them out one by one, it's
That
not
wasn't
getting
his
to
turn
you.
when it went into my skin.
No, that was it. What it does at the top of your turn is you're still whelmed by it.
Oh.
Yeah, this thing's nasty.
Oh, that's a die.
So now it's its turn. You're keeping pace with how fast it's getting to you along your own arm, but this sucks. This is so painful. But it is now crawling up the side of the other side of your arm that Nakano's holding on to that rolls over the side of the starboard ship like an anchor chain, and it's crawling on there and getting back onto the ship. And now it's going to see if it can. Oof. It jumps onto two of the crew members and like grabs them and starts pulling them closer to it as well as a bunch of others continue to crawl towards you. And they're almost at you, Nakano. Do you want to let go of Tamrin's hand? Or do you want to hold on to it?
I can hold on and use my limbs to kind of just brush off
Sure.
as many as.
Yeah. Just so I know, because it's still its turn, but it would, just so I know. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's going to then, like dig and poke and scratch. That's a 5, so it doesn't hurt Tamrin. That is a 16. Does that hit you, Tamrin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't use shield anymore because they're like on me, right?
You could still use shield as a reaction if you want. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you have the spell slot, yeah.
But it would be it would make that 16. Is that? Does that?
It would
save?
make your AC 16
Yeah.
plus 5. Then it's a meter beat, so they
How-
would still get through.
How far away are
Okay,
you?
then never mind.
How far away am I from Tammy? And
Tammy's
that-
like dangling about 5 feet above the surface of the water on the side of the ship.
And a scoop and I are how far down?
I would say maybe like 30 feet down, something like that.
I'm 5 feet out of range, dude. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Your AC is 11 without mage armor?
Yes.
Oof.
My dex is 1.
Oh no. And you don't wear armor, right? So it's 5.
No. Why don't I wear armor? Can I wear armor? Am I allowed?
You're not proficient in armor. Sorcerers aren't proficient in
Oh.
armor.
Can I practice?
You can take a feat that like called lightly armored or one of the other ones that allow you to get proficiency in it once you get into another ability score improvement. You take 13 points of psychic damage as this thing crawls into you and scratches at all of your joints. Are you still up? You're down?
No.
Okay, you see Tamrin fall unconscious. His jaws loosen and he sploosh, plops back into the water. His arm is still pinned to the thing, so now he's just kind of like dragging in the water like a buoy. Like it's still under the water, but also drowning because he can't breathe.
Yeah.
But he's not sinking any further because he's pinned.
Yep.
So he will automatically fail his death saving throws at the top of his turn because he's drowning. Okay, that brings us to a scoop. It's your turn.
Since I'm upside down, I'm gonna. Well, actually, Machete's right next to me, so I'm just gonna adjust my line of sight to the sun. I guess I see the sploosh come in.
Yeah, you can
From
see
Tamrin?
Tamrin because you're looking up at the light, so you can see his silhouette.
I'm going to healing word him.
Oh hell yeah!
Thank you,
He's
bud.
gonna- See how much he gets. Ooh, 13. You got 13.
Hey.
Hey, yo. Let's go.
So you're back up.
Thank you.
And Do I see a silhouette of Nucano as well, or?
Roll a perception check for me.
Oh, that's good. That's 17.
17. You don't see a silhouette of Nakano, but you see off in the distance, almost behind you, as you're kind of like looking up, you do see a silhouette of something much larger that has a wake, like the keel on the hull of a ship that is parting the water. And you see, and the bottom of the ship looks rather familiar because you've seen the bottom of the ship quite a bit. This looks a lot like the Pawnbringer that has just arrived.
The one that bashed my head in.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that's what you see. You bonus action to healing word. You still have an action
I know.
and movement.
I'm gonna use my movement to go up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
see
I'll
something.
say you don't need to roll an athletics sheet because Misheni with a swim speed is kind of like aiding you in this passively,
Okay.
but you still only move at half speed because that's what swim speeds do for people who don't have swim speed. So you'll be moving, I guess, 15 feet up. So you'll be 15 feet from the surface of the water. I'll say both of you. That's fine. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with that.
Can I roll another perception or?
I mean, looking
it
for
just
what?
not-
You didn't see
Nakano?
Nakano. Yeah, you don't see Nakano. With that
Okay.
thing, you don't see. You see Tamron appears to be the only thing in the water other than the Panbringer that's approaching.
Okay. That's all I could do.
Okay, cool. We're then going to go to Nakano. It's your turn. These things are approaching you and crawling up the wrist of where the now long arm and the final hand of Nakano, which is now very limp. You feel the hand, its grip, go very limp in your grasp. What do you do? There's a bunch of them, like a tightrope, all attached to
could-
this arm. Like
She's still scared of them.
she is. But you do get to roll at the end of your last turn. You get to roll a wisdom saving throw to see if you're not afraid anymore. So go ahead and roll that.
Okay. $15.
That succeeds, so you're no longer afraid of them.
Cool. All right. And I'm gonna like go crazy with like attacking, stabbing.
You want to
stabbing.
stab
20 attacks.
Stab, stab, stab,
20
stab,
attacks. Do you want to? So like the arm is like limp, and it has a bunch of these things on it. Do you want to like try to flick them off and attack them, or are you trying to like?
I was thinking
hit
like spinning really fast to get them off. You know, kind of like momentum.
Cool.
Just like
Do you like
Okay.
a breakdance kind of
Cool.
move on the...
Like
yeah.
like kind of like snapping them off like a whip. Like you whip his arm and you snap them off, and then you spin and hit them, or are you trying to like spin and slice at Tamron's arm? Because if you attack them while they're
Oh,
on his
yeah.
arm, you're gonna hit him.
Yeah, let's not do that. Okay. Like first we get them. Yeah. Like
wanna,
you
like,
said.
Like you do a shirt
Yeah.
or like
Yep.
a whip. You want to whip them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead and
them
roll. Go ahead and roll a because this is dexterity. Like this is pretty kind of fun. An acrobatics check for me to see how many of these you can just go like and whip off.
Okay.
Tamron's arm's gonna hurt after this.
Can I like come gadget? Get my arms back together.
Yeah, you
17?
can start. 17. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you kind of like almost roll yourself up on it on purpose, and then like a top unroll yourself and whip it real fast as you like spin your scythe for extra momentum. As these things all just kind of like whip off, and a bunch of them are in the air. You see like dozens of them just kind of like plop off and just like all the way down. The whip pretty much gets rid of all of the hands that are on, because they haven't burrowed on this side, all of the hands that are crawling up the arm up to the point where his arm is pinned to the ship, and then kind of like flip them up in the air into like, somewhat of a kind of like a lined mass that are in this area. And you hear, as you do that, you hear the sonic boom of the whip that she just destroys your arm and whips it real fucking hard. But you also hear,
Those are
especially
extra
you,
elbows
Scoop,
anyway.
you hear the sound of what also sounds like a very mimicking sound of a cannon, but it sounds like cannon fire. And this cannonball comes careening through the air and just hits all of these hands that you've whipped up into the air, just like, and just smacks them all and turns them into dust. All the ones that you, because the cannon bringer has fired a cannon and just at where you guys were and have hit these things like pull as you pulled them up in the air and they've shot them dead in the air. And it just pierces all of them through the whole line. So all of the ones that are on your side are gone. Oh, well, I guess Tamron's hand isn't as limp anymore because he's up, but he's still pinned. And there's still just a very few that are near where he is and on him. But you still have, I'd say you still have like your movement and your action. And
Get
all that
rid
type
of.
stuff.
I want to get rid of the others that are still there near.
Cool. I'll
Cameron.
say because you have your spider limbs, you can crawl down to the side and like get to where the surface of it, and you can like start harpooning with your scythe and like slashing into the.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'd say because
Oh, where? Yeah, am I at advantage?
I mean you're slashing into the water, so I wouldn't say advantage, but it is
Okay.
whelming an ally, so I say it's still sneak attack.
Okay. $20.
A nat 20.
Nat 20.
Oh
yeah.
my god! So that is triple fucking damage. So we're talking about 18d6, 3d10.
Wait, does this hit me too?
Yeah.
It does. I might literally permanently die.
We'll
Like,
see.
from this hit. Yeah, all right.
18d6.
18d6 and
3d10.
3d10 plus your extra bonus thing, plus your dexterity modifier
Yeah.
I think
plus
I'm
1.
gonna. I think I might permanently die.
Right. Okay.
No.
2, 4,
No.
6.
It takes half and you take half.
Oh, I'll be fine.
I don't
You'll
know
go
how to roll
down.
8, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'm going down, but I
Yeah.
Wait.
TK.
You said 18, right?
18d6, 3d10 plus 6.
This is scary.
I have to do it. I have to add up at a time. Hold on. 1 second.
This is the death comes a knockin', you know?
Yeah.
18.
I think you need
20,
like a
20.
pack of D6 just for.
I know. 20.
I can't remember if this is death comes a knockin' or for whom the bell tolls. I can't remember which. I have to look at the thing that I made.
Okay.
For whom the bell
Ask
tolls
not.
is cooler because we like Metallica.
4.
Yeah,
18d6,
yeah.
That's
Cool.
fucking insane.
Ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for ye.
It's also a sad book.
It is.
Oh shit. What's your HP at, Tamara?
20, 30.
13.
Whatever you healed him at.
No, like what's your max?
55.
So 68 is what.
68 would kill me.
If you get 69, you.
Hey,
Hey, at least you're going out.
You die at
this bang.
69.
That would mean
You're-
the damage would have to be like 100 or 138, right? I mean, like that would be
No,
crazy.
no, because it's how much health you have left plus your max is how much damage you have to take to die immediately.
Okay,
Right,
I'm
but-
just
but-
tallying
But
up
it's,
now.
I get half of the. Of
It's
her
true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So she would have to roll 100.
So don't forget to add the 6 at the end of it. But yeah, what'd you get?
Yeah, I
Angela?
got that. I got 83.
83 points of magical slashing
That would
damage.
have killed me.
Yeah, that would have, if he wasn't taking half, that would have just
Oh.
That would've
decapitated
literally, I would have been.
Tamron.
I would've been
But you
murdered.
slash into the water. So you see her like spin her scythe as she's attached to the side of the ship, slash into the water, and before her scythe even hits the water, the wake of just the power of like death just parts it like the Red Sea, and like it's a lot longer, a lot wider than it is, as it pushes the water away to make it dry in that area, to give it a wake and a bubble that it can slice right through. And you see Tamron's face go in slow motion as this thing comes for him, and you cut off his arm. You fully cut off his arm to prevent like more of them from like crawling towards him, but his arm is already like really, really long, and like you see like now he's just got one elbow and a hand pops out of his arm, and you'd see him like go down and unconscious, but you also then spin the scythe around and like a blender, just eviscerate all the rest of them until there's none left. You grab Tamron, you pull him up. He's unconscious. You and a scoop, Macheni, you are able to get back onto the ship. Does anybody want to give them healing before he like dies?
Yeah.
Well, let's say you get one death saving throw to see what's happening.
That's far and away the most damage I've ever seen in this game.
Yeah.
In any Dungeons and Dragons game.
Well, when
Death is.
when death comes a knocking.
I'm rolling a death saving just for the hell.
Yeah, just to see
Funsies.
if you roll a natural one.
10.
Oh, hey. Okay, so you're okay. So, a scoop, if you want to drop another spell, you
Yeah,
can heal
she's
him. And
13 up.
okay, so you're 13 up. Cool. So you're out of initiative. The Palm Bringer eventually comes by side, and Avery and Hurt like wave and go like, "You need a hand?" And that's where we're gonna take our break. We'll be back in a little bit.
Can I scout?
I don't like that pawn right now.
You don't like that fun right now. We'll be right back. See you guys. All right. Hi, Ramsey. So, you are not on the right music. Here we go. The Panbringer pulls alongside, and the Captain Avery and her almost say in unison, "Need a hit, need a hand," and kind of like, and they look at each other and they like do like, and they wink, as if they're like, "Yeah, that was a good joke, good joke."
I hate you guys.
Withering stare.
Yeah, Tamron's like arm is all fucked up on the ground. You see like one of your your hand is now you got cut, and Nakano cut off your arm to the point where you only have one elbow now, and like Deadpool from like the part where the wrist would grow, you see this tiny little hand like starting to come back, and a scoop is just there without an arm, and Tamron's like on the thing, and Nakano's like holding him, being like, "Are you okay? You good? Sorry, had to cut off your arm." So it was important. It was necessary.
Did you have to do it so effectively?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It
She's
was
like,
no
"I don't
other
do
way."
anything."
Why are you
Yeah, that's
complaining?
exactly what I was gonna fucking say. She's like, "I don't do anything but super effectively."
It's from all the practice that we've been doing the last couple days, you know? Like, it's the swords, and also you're just, like, super scary now. Like, you were scary before, but now you're, like, super scary. Yeah.
Nice.
That was really effective technique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It hurt pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm
but-
sorry about
No,
that.
it's all right. I mean, no more hands on me, so that's good.
Also, like...
He's all like
are you
slack-eyed
okay?
and slack-jawed because he's so fucked up.
Am I okay? Well,
I
not
mean,
really.
poor Tamron. He's so fragile.
Can I take a look at both you and the scoop real quick to make sure that... Because obviously, like, we have to do something with your... You don't have an arm. Your arm is weird.
I have too much arm. Maybe
You have
we can
too-
take some of my extra arm and give it to a scoop.
It's possible.
Do you
I'm
want
waving
to?
at you, but you can't see.
It's still like
Can we try
limp
to get-
and pinned, like a snake shed its skin. It's like limp and pinned to the side of this to the ship.
Can we try to give him some of the extra arm?
Yeah, you can unpin. You can like send Nakano can go down and like pull the harpoon out and like pull this, slop this like fleshy, scaly, just limp marionette, like long. It looks like an oarfish that just plopped onto the deck.
I mean, we can certainly try. I do wonder if some of it will go away when, you know, the magic goes away. Because it seems
Oh, true.
magical, but like, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had a
probably right.
really cool mutation along the way, but yeah.
What the fuck just happened?
Do you have any
yeah,
more?
are you okay, Scoop?
Yeah.
Do I look okay?
It doesn't look super great.
No.
Do you have any other hands or other stony bits on you still? Or is that bit completely gone?
I check myself.
Before you wreck yourself. It's okay. Go ahead and roll a medicine check.
Okay. Oh, that
Guidance.
bounced all over the fucking place.
Guidance.
It's not gonna matter. Medicine. Maybe. Let's do 4. Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh. 13.
13. You definitely feel you do not feel as healthy as you could be because you've lost a whole limb. You don't feel as strong and healthy as you could be, but you don't feel like sickly. And I think you also kind of like look back at Nakano's journal that was like dropped, and you see that there's now almost an exact copy of the statuette that you had gotten from Big Boba that looks like a statue of a Firbolg, but the rest of the body, other than the arm, is very undefined. I would say it looks more like a statue that hasn't been finished being chiseled, except for the arm itself is defined and chiseled. Like it was kind of like a slab. Like the base is defined, but then the rest of it is kind of just like an oval rock, and then the arm part where the arm might be is like more defined to look like an arm.
Okay. So with this, do I lose my ability to use a shield, and I lose the +1 for idle armor? So my AC is 13, correct?
It unless you hold your shield in your other arm.
I mean, I couldn't attack otherwise.
I mean, yeah, you just have to decide whether you want to hold your shield or whip out a weapon. I mean, but like it looks like your arm is like stored in this thing.
Like we could get it back.
Possibly.
And I'm not bleeding at all. It just soldered
Your arm was
itself,
like
or...
mostly under your control until Nakano started to write out forbidden knowledge. And you were present.
What the fuck?
I mean, crazy idea. We are about to get to like a city. I might be able to find an area that's good for procedure if you want to get a limb back. It may not be your type of limb, but it could be kind of fun. You could kind of choose whatever like type of creature you want. Up to you.
We can always check.
Okay. Start thinking of all the
I
possibilities.
just lost the arm, so
Yeah, but now you can make it like even better. Like you could get like a tentacle arm if you wanted to. Think about like the
great Captain Avery all over again.
So,
yeah.
Machene,
okay.
you're also Animagen and everything. You understand the connections and the cooperativeness of magic and like medicine that work together. Why don't you go ahead and roll either an Arcana check or a medicine check as well?
It's 28 medicine.
28 medicine. You're not sure why, but there's like just a part of the instincts of just what you do that it kind of recalls, as you're looking at this now new small statuette, kind of recalls how in some Animagen practices they put organs or pieces or that are meant to be grafted on things in canoptic jars, but it doesn't necessarily have to fit in the canoptic jars. Like it's bigger on the inside. It can be stored magically in a vessel, and then pulled out, and it's preserved in that vessel. And so it could be like a whole body inside of a canoptic jar. It could be like a whole half of a torso in a canoptic jar. Like it could be larger. You're kind of like, and as you're looking at this, you definitely recall that type of thing. Like for the moment, as far as like you witnessed what was happening, it seems in some twisted fashion similar to the fact that there may be just like the arm as it once was in the state before it became all these hands stored in this vessel, and the talking of this forbidden knowledge like caused it to kind of become something else and retreat into this more like statuette kind of form thing. But yeah.
Okay. I mean, so we could maybe try to look into undoing this and you could get your normal arm back, or you still could get the cool, fun new arm. I'm just saying. But your
gotta
arm was cool too, so like whatever you want to do, of course.
Convince me on the way, all right?
Okay, that sounds good. So, and then I just start listing out like some different types of animals and their cool attributes.
I don't want like a little small arm, then the long arm. That's be weird, like.
Yeah, no.
I'm
We're
getting
not
an
gonna
echo
do, like,
from
a little baby arm. We're not doing
Sean's
that.
pickup. We're hearing our own voices. Okay, cool. You guys are doing that, and I'll then say we can, like, for the sake of time, like, we can like move forward. You guys meet up with the Sutapambora meets up with the Panbringer. You're in the Bay of Piety. It's like the plan is to go to Namang.
Was good.
And as you sail into harbor as you can, kind of escorting each other, there is I would encourage you to kind of get all your ducks in a row when it comes to the information that you should be preparing to do for whether it be the trial or whatever else you need to take care of in the city before you make yourselves known before more legal proceedings.
I guess it's like, what is our role in the trial? Are we witnesses? Like, what's
Yeah.
Yeah, you are
what's the-
technically
what are we supposed to do?
you're technically witnesses, character witnesses, and also think of it like a what is it? When you have a bunch of people that sue?
Class action
It's
lawsuit?
more like a class action. So technically, you're part of the class action, but also not part of the class action, and like witnesses as well. You're also one of some very powerful beings. Like have like a lot of you have magic, your heroes, those types of things, and so your renown makes your kind of as character witnesses makes you vital to the trial per se. You would be the people that could possibly be called upon to be like, okay, you're an expert in this, blah, 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 blah. But it doesn't mean that your efforts have to be solely within the legal parameters of the time in which the trial is happening. Like, you can do stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be just within the barriers of the trial. Like, you could, if you want to go out and like find the jury members in their real life and do something about it, like, or go out and like dig dirt up on people or corrupt things and bribe people or do whatever the fuck it is, like, you can do whatever you want. You're not like, you're heroes with abilities that I mean, obviously it doesn't, if you get caught doing these things, you could still get proper charged and punished and arrested and those types of things. But you can do whatever you want. Your case in here would be part of the defense, and like helping out the defense and helping out the defense attorney, gathering information, and also being witnesses and character witnesses.
So it wouldn't be defense.
I'm sorry, not defense, prosecutor.
Prosecute.
Yeah, prosecution.
The defense is the government.
The defense is the government.
The
more
Southern
specifically,
Dynasty
the
or the Northern Dynasty.
well, this is actually another decision you guys have to make. You have to just make is like, do you want to make this a military trial and be it up against the naval and the military of the northern government, or do you want to make it a civil trial?
I don't
And
know
either
enough
way-
about these kinds of things.
And
be the-
Neither
either way,
as a
they're
character or a person.
What would be the advantages and disadvantages of either? I imagine the military would be like faster.
Okay, so what I'll say is like, as you're like, going through the Bay of Piety and you're starting to like, get flagged down by a tow ship and everything, and you have like, half the day to like kind of get all your ducks in a row and try to gather information, get your story straight. I can say that that's what you're doing while you're while this is happening, is that why doesn't everybody roll a history check for me? Tamron, you can roll this at advantage because you're actually from the Northern Dynasty.
Can I take a nap first?
You could take a short rest along this way if you'd like.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'd consider this trip like you wouldn't have enough time to go like all the way to bed. And hasn't been long enough, but you guys could all get a short rest in if you so wish.
A little brunch, you know.
Yeah.
Rolled a 19 and a 20.
Like an at 20?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right, what did everybody else get for a history check?
13.
13. Okay.
Wait, are we doing an advantage?
Tamron was because he's from the Northern
Oh,
Dynasty.
okay.
When you're rolling
Yeah.
hit dice, you get your con back too, or no? Sorry, for short rest.
Yes, you get the number on the hit dice plus your Constitution modifier is what you heal by.
Okay, thank you.
I got 13.
13 and Masheni?
I got 13 for the history
13
check.
and Nakano?
12.
12. Okay, so you guys get Nakano, Masheni, and a Scoop basically understand the basics of like not necessarily like this trial and court proceedings. They understand like, well, you know, when you do something wrong and somebody accuses you of something, and in order to seek justice, you are then, you know, put aboard like some sort of council and people and like a jury of your peers in order to like try to dole out justice and get recompense rights and then see if there should be a punishment, what should it be, if like someone was in the right or the wrong. Like they get to understand the basic thing of that, because most of your time that you have spent, except for perhaps among the three of you, Masheni, has been more on the like wild side of civilization and not that type of like bringing a case and evidence for that. It's been more frontier justice for a lot of you. Even in your village, Scoop, like it's not really. There's definitely there's definitely a good amount of civility, but it's not as bureaucratic as it is here. So there's a lot of lacking when it comes to law that you understand here. However, Tamron, one of the things you had to go through was a lot of red tape in order to apply for the Bardic University, in order to get like, you know, your certification for the College of the Unearthed and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of like legal things you needed to go through. And so like you learned a little bit about the system, and just living there, you know, growing up, knowing that, well, I need to sign up for this once I can become of this age, and I need to do da. So you understand like, you know, some of the basic laws, and just like growing up in a nation, you learn about their rules, laws, and traditions. So there's a couple things you understand. Is that that there are a couple positions of like sectors of who is involved in a trial. There's the judge, there's the jury, there's the accused, there's the prosecutor, and there's the defending attorney, pretty much. And that's about it.
So it's like what we would imagine.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's very similar to what we're doing. Yeah, it's very, very similar to what we're doing. There are obviously going to be some differences because, you know, different cultures and different traditions. There's going to be some things that are going to be a little more surprising to you. However, what you understand is that there's things that you can do, like the things that exist are like jury tampering or judge tampering, or all those are the things. There's the process of the proceedings are things like opening arguments, presenting the evidence, closing arguments, and then doling out the punishments, should there be any. You know, there's also chances for like crooked judges and how lenient a judge is, and if someone has a hanging judge, like that's a big problem. Or if somebody, you know, has a runaway jury or a cherry-picked jury, like these are all possible things that could possibly happen. When it comes to civil and military, if you're trying to try this case in military proceedings, the government itself has less of a chance of being held accountable for the actions of its military, and would most likely have there be scapegoats of people who are being punished because of the actions of the military. Granted, there would still be quite a bit of, even should you win, like there's still going to be quite a bit of repercussions for the government and the military as a whole. But it's possible that it could severely hinder the military as a whole, making it so their abilities to for perhaps like affect and like go out and commit some of these more atrocities would be far more difficult, and affect the time like any type of strong arming when it comes to manpower also be severely hindered as well. So it pretty much like you'd be knocking out their offense if you win the military trial. If like the civil case is more kind of absolving the military of its responsibility and accountability through like kind of like a qualified immunity type way, and trying to go for the civil trial is going to be more of you are the commanding, you are the president, you're the dynast, this was under your watch, you're responsible for this, like someone suing the president, and then like and them like trying to call upon things like executive privilege and stuff like that do exist, but there could possibly be ways to not necessarily circumvent that, but supersede that in a type of way of if you can find people in positions of power going beyond what their portfolio and their job description does to affect these types of things, like not like doing things, I don't know, not necessarily like off hours, but going beyond what it is their responsibilities were to commit these types of atrocities, they could very well be tried as individuals as well, meaning like they wouldn't have the protections of their offices, and you could start making people fully, like the people themselves, the individuals, accountable, and you could start, it could end up with several people that are in power that are pulling the strings here, maybe being put into jail and like, being extradited to other places where they would be then held accountable by a different set of rules. Perhaps someone being extradited to like a Tijantinanawi controlled encampment and have them dole out their own justice, because technically at the moment there is no law against extraditing to other nations other than those that include the Lithuanian Confederacy and the Razorfang Agreement. The Twin Isles will not extradite to. They don't have extradition treaties with the Razorfang Agreement and the Lithuanian Confederacy. The Lithuanian Confederacy being Sarnla, the remaining of the Elven oligarchy, all the way to the northwest. The people that like Masha Ehrenbach's part of, they do not have an agreement with them, but. Technically, they do not recognize the native Tananawi people as a nation. At least the North doesn't. The South does. The Northern Dynasty doesn't. The Southern Dynasty does. So if, as part of the case in the trial, you can also prove that the native Tananawi people are a nation, you can supersede the fact that they could also be extradited to them and have them be and almost supersede the trial entirely, and being like, this trial should not be tried here, it should be tried in a jury of the peers of the people who are offended, who are the Tuan nation. So there's a bunch of different ways you could go about it. Now, so does that answer your question?
Yes, but
I suppose.
I'm sorry, Sean.
So, if we were to try to prove that they are their own nation, that could only be done under a civil case, not a military.
Correct. That could
case.
only be done in a civil case. That could not be done in a military case. The military case would be, you have like, because you have such hard evidence, I would say you have like a larger chance of success, and you would be able to like severely hamstring the efforts of them continuing to create these types of atrocities, but you might not entirely affect the source, so the source be more civil.
Also, I
how
feel
a
like if
civil
we went for a military case, there'd be less likely for people to be pulling the strings to affect the outcome, and maybe they would just be like, well, and like throw them under the bus, just let them be thrown under the bus so that they're not held accountable.
Possibly. Yeah.
Just those scapegoats.
Yeah.
I think I would at least vote to.
You could also severely affect their military and naval capacities. Like they could be like severely fined, and pretty much like one of the punishments you could pursue is like them having no access to the Razorfang technology anymore, and like those types of things, and not be able to use those things. Pretty much making it so there would be very little chance of them being able to actually commit these types of atrocities. But you'd be dealing with the symptom rather than the cause.
My vote would at least be to get the seeker involved and to vote and have a good vote, like a good portion of the vote towards the course of action that we take, considering that none of us are actually we either.
True.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
if
don't
you
know
want-
why we're so involved in this. Like I feel like why are we making decisions? We were just witnesses to this. Like,
Yeah.
we're not
You were
really
also the
involved,
people who
you know what I mean? Like
stopped it from happening, so you have kind of an honorific
Yeah.
title among these people. Like as far as none of this would be happening, or if it was happening, would be happening a lot slower if it were not for you, because you prevented them. You allowed there to be voices that could talk about the atrocity, because not everybody was killed.
Yeah, but I think
And so
still
they
would-
owe you. Well, they don't owe you, but they respect you and your opinion, and your position.
I would still defer what they want to do and support them as much as possible.
They're also, and actually, this ties back to the fact that Tamron, you are a member of the Northern. You're the one that knows all this. You rolled really well. You rolled nat 20 on the history. Like you know quite a bit about the legal system of the Northern Dynasty. The Tananawi people do not. That's one of the reasons why they were.
not
Why
even the
it was.
seeker?
I mean, you can ask, but the by and large, the Tananawi people do not know a lot about the system. It's one of the reasons why the system has been able to take such severe advantage of them over the years, because they just straight up don't know how the system works, because they're not able to get educated by it. Why would they if they're being taken advantage of it? Like there's a bunch of different things.
Could we still then basically use your knowledge as well as our barrister's knowledge and describe both situations and say, okay, this is what happens for this versus that. Which way do you want?
Yeah,
to
if you want to give them some like crash course
Yeah.
education on this, yeah, you're more than welcome to do so.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm again like no roll required when it comes to that. Like you got an at 20, these things like they pretty much get the spiel that I just gave you guys, and
Yes. Thank you for not making me do it.
thank you for not making.
I just
yeah.
open my mouth. Your like voice comes out of it.
So yeah, you pretty much are able to give them a spiel and and educate them a little bit on like just pretty much what I said, and they confer amongst themselves. And the seeker is they're torn about what's going on here, because there's definitely part of them that want to have some safety, which would be like some assured safety, which would be the military angle, to be able to then have the time to be able to pursue more things. However, there could also be some sort of like statute of limitations when it comes to how often you can like pursue the punishments for the same crime. And should that happen, then you might get another another peace treaty that was for a while, and who knows what's going to happen afterward. And there's definitely some apprehension as far as going forward with a civil trial, because if they lose everything, because you can't be tried for the same thing twice.
But for those particular individuals. Now, if this were to happen to different individuals that came to office, that's
Correct.
different.
That also occurs to them, and they're like, but why would we want that to happen? As far as like, why do we have to wait for more to die in order to make some people accountable for what they've already done? As far as like they're sick and tired of this. Absolutely. I mean, so many of them, their people
Could we
have died
file too?
over the hundreds or thousands of years. Could you file?
Could we file two separate cases? One being possibly for the military. That way, it's like a quicker possible thing, or whichever action they want to do. But then a second, suing basically for recognition of these people as their own
nation. You could
Yes.
absolutely do that. Yes, you could do that. You would have to try two different cases,
Right.
which would be twice as much work. And
But-
there could be a movement or a motion to try to lump both cases into one by the defense.
Right.
That could happen, and that would be another thing you would have to fight. But yes, that would yield the possibly optimal results that you want to get out of this. You could win, because you could win both. It would be more difficult and you would have to fight the motion most likely that Bellario Barato is going to like probably try to do in order to like move from class action to individual, move from individual to class action, and because you're dealing with somebody who's really knows the system. But it's possible. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. You could absolutely do that way if you want to. And what we'll do is that we'll just run 2 different trials. Okay. Now, it's also it's not up to you when these trials occur. For example, there could be an attempt where they make them occur at the same time and call the same witnesses. And so since people can be only at one place at once, that is a big problem, because then that could mean that if somebody shows up for one witness testimony and doesn't show up for another one, they could be held in contempt and could only get like one testimony before they're then put in jail, because like they could pull fast ones like that. They could absolutely do that. And there's nothing stopping them from doing that. And you could absolutely appeal that and then probably win the appeal, but by then time it would be too late.
So we've got to figure out how to make simulacrums of ourselves, and then we'll be fine.
We
Yeah,
could
I mean,
murder,
like
Bacano.
What?
you could. It took you 10 minutes to come up with like, let's murder the defense, murder the defending attorney. You could
It's
do
the simplest solution. Murder.
You
the
can
defense
do
attorney.
anything you want. You can either like, go buy the letter, buy the book with the system, which like, I've built the thing out that how we're going to do that. Or you can like, do some shenanigans as well. If you want to, like you can try to bribe jury members. You can try to bribe judges. Like, they just have the same type of risks and consequences before. And so, yeah, you can absolutely move forward if you want to be trying something as both a civil case and a military case. What I'll say, you got it. What I'll say is, nice move, is if I understand you correctly, the civil case would be trying to sue for the irrevocable recognition of the Tunanui people as a nation.
Yes, and so then that way they can moving forward have
Which would
lands
then
that are their own,
correct. That
etc.
would also then open the door for another civil case of them being a sovereign nation, and then
Yes.
you could possibly completely circumvent the actual case of like the thing you're actually trying to deal with, and move a motion to extradite those that have been accused to the Tunanui nation.
Yes, because it's
and go through their purposes, which you wouldn't have to deal with. They would just deal with on their own.
Yeah.
And so that would be, it's kind of like an auto win scenario if you can do that when it comes to those people. However, the only problem with that is if y'all don't know who to accuse and to put on the stand, it's going to be up to you as a group, as the Baker's Dozen, to decide who's being extradited. And because
I don't know.
the truth, and unfortunately, in a court of law here, the truth doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't mean anything at all. It matters who wins the case and who is being put on trial,
Right.
and where the jury goes. So you guys have to decide to collectively with your defense and help out and use your resources to find out who is actually responsible, if that's the way you want to go, and request that those people be extradited. Now, it behoove you to have you yourself, perhaps outside the trial, know some information about.
I think that wasn't the intent. The intent was for future cases if something else happened.
No, yes, it would absolutely set a precedent as well. But the Tunanui people would be damned if they weren't going to try to extradite people immediately.
Yeah, no. But
so and that's what I'm saying is that would be like the last step in that. That would be like the punishment phase of the winning of that trial, is finding out who you would be able to extradite. Because that's going to have far-reaching consequences as well. Because while they're extradited, they're not in power.
Mm-hmm.
Or not, at least not officially. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So even during the case that is extradited to the Tunanui nation, they're not in power. And most likely at that point, the Southern Dynasty would serve as arbiter for that, because they recognize the Tunanui nation.
Okay.
The other thing to think about is you guys rolled super, super high. Well, Tamron rolled
Tammy
super,
did.
super high.
Good job, Tammy.
The other thing to think about is there is another faction of the Tunanui people in the Southern Dynasty that would rather win a bunch of military cases and hang a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And also become recognized as a nation to that again have their own declarations of war.
Yeah.
And bring in the Southern Dynasty as a war, another war with the Northern Dynasty, to pretty much destroy the Northern Dynasty, because the Northern Dynasty has a lot of the familial, like, ancestral lands. A lot of it is there.
Yeah.
And like, not to say that there isn't quite a lot in the Southern Dynasty either, but the Southern Dynasty has made a lot of reparations and given a lot of the land back, like wholesale, just no strings attached, because generations have happened and they've realized the faulty of their ancestors, and they've like come to certain agreements of saying like, we're here, we want to live in peace, we'll definitely pull back, we understand, like, we don't want to do this. And a lot of the Southern Dynasty peoples have, like, emigrated to other nations because there's just not enough room, and they're happily doing so, which is causing their power to also wane because they don't have as many people supporting their nation anymore, yada yada yada. But at the same time, the Southern Dynasty Tananawi faction that would rather fight is not even happy with that. They want everybody out of the Twin Isles, period, and they're happy to slaughter people in order to get that done. But they also realize they don't have the manpower to do that, so they're trying to wrap the Southern Dynasty into it to fight the war with them, and then say, thank you, maybe now you can share some land with us, but we'd still like most of you to leave. And it's not, I'm not painting them at all in a villainous light at whatever. It's just that there's two very stark different ideologies of how to get one thing done.
Yeah. I mean, how, and this may be outside the role that I got, at least for right now, but how did those factions go about getting land back?
The dynast of the Southern Dynasty was far more empathetic and sympathetic to the Tananawi's plight.
Okay.
And just was...
but they still weren't recognized as...
no, the Southern Dynasty recognizes them as a nation. The Northern Dynasty does not recognize them as a nation.
Okay.
The Southern Dynasty recognized them as a nation and made many accommodations and tried to give as much land as they could without starving their own people.
All right.
Pretty much.
That's good to know.
And which is why, like, right now the Southern Dynasty is a very weak position, because they have, as militarily, just because they have sacrificed a lot, because they are trying to, for lack of a better term, account for the sins of the father. Mm-hmm. They'd rather do that than be strong, which, is a testament. It by no means could be enough, but they're trying. And there is definitely, if things go the same way that they're going right now, the Southern Dynasty could be no more in the next decade, and could be just its own Tananawi nation. That the people of the Southern Dynasty, the Southern Dynasty could be dissolved, and the Tananawi nation could have an agreement of just allowing people that were refugees of the now dissolved Southern Dynasty to live among its lands.
Yeah, but at the same time, you might still have fighting for those.
Of course,
lands,
because
that's where
because the southern some of the factions. Remember that guy that was trying to start fights in Shylong?
Yep.
That Duno told you fled to the south. He's part of that. He's part of one of those factions, and he's the one that wants, like, we'd rather fight and everything, and they would rather just expunge everybody, and even that is, like, still not enough for them, which is entirely understandable. But this is the situation we're in, and the Southern Dynast is constantly torn between the plight of her own people, or that were inherited to her because of her ancestors being the ones that were colonial and imperialist and took over this land from these people, and making sure that they're, like, still alive and not starving in the streets, while also doing their best to give back all of the land to and everything, and
right. And the Southern Dynast is the female of the
it's
two
the female of the
twins.
two twins. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So it's not a great situation all around. There's definitely not a clear, like, moral right spot for this, but the Southern Dynast is willing to sacrifice a lot to try to make things right, and the Northern Dynasty is not.
Okay. So this is like the afternoon that we're afternoon of the
Yeah, you can
that
arrive
we're-
whenever you like. It's just it makes sense that guys should have some time while traveling to discuss these types of things. I didn't want to put you on a timer. Or
Yeah,
anything.
I just was saying like trying to give dates.
Yeah.
So the 8th afternoon.
Yeah, it's still the
8th.
8th. I would say the afternoon if that's when you want to arrive at the dock and like start paying your docking fees and all those types of things. So that's pretty much how that is going to go down. So just to recap, you have options. You can either do military case, civil case, or both, which all have their own risks and rewards. It is. You have quite a few contacts that you have racked up and people that you know that you can either reach out to magically or so forth. Bichem said that she was going to be there with as much reinforcements, again, for lack of a better term, as she could, a bunch of her contacts. So there's going to be a bunch of people here. I don't want to be wrapped up all in like, oh, the logistics of how they get here. Are they here yet already? Like, if there's somebody from your past that you want to pull out, we can retroactively kind of add them into something like, oh, okay,
We could
that's
do
what,
like a teleportation circle. And then
you could do that, or you could just say, hey, that's a name that I sent to Bichem and they're here now. Unless there's for like a more unknown reason why they would not be able to be here, like you can start pulling names out of your notes and hats and we can just start like adding those to the trial. Okay. As I said, just to get into a little bit more of the mechanics of how the trial is going to work, you're going to have, like I said, you're going to have the judge, the jury, the accused, the prosecutor, and the defending attorney. Each of these have a bonus, either a negative or a positive, that add to the DC that you're going to have to beat in order to win or get the jury over to your side or judge, depending on what's going on, for a particular argument. Now, you guys can have as many arguments as you like as far as charges are concerned for a particular case, but I'd like to kind of try to cap it around like 3 ish, maybe like I'd say like 3 to 5 is like how I'd like to cap it around like the arguments. And you can present your evidence to those types of things, and that's your argument here, that's your argument here, that's your argument here.
Are we the lawyers? I'm confused.
You're
Are we presenting the evidence?
as people who have
We
had
hire a
access.
professional? I'm not.
Hold on
We
a second.
did, yeah.
Hold on a second. You do
You're
have
the
a
most charismatic one.
Scared.
hold on a
I
second.
know, but I'm
guys.
not a lawyer.
Hold on. Let me get through this because there's a lot of information here. Your prosecutor is Olario Orlano III, or I believe it's the third.
Okay.
Olario Orlano III. They are a graduate of the College of Eloquence and Diplomacy. They have some diplomacy abilities that we have like homebrewed. There's some really cool stuff. We'll see what's going on there in a little bit, and they can use those in this court of law.
This is their senior project, is what I remember.
Yeah,
from
this
last-
is for their doctorate / masters. This is for their like bar.
That's fine.
They're our age, Tammy.
Wow.
And well, they're an elf, so we'll see.
well, academically.
Sure, yeah, academically. Yeah, academically.
Yeah.
So like I said, the judge, the jury, the accused, the prosecutor, and defense attorney all have a bonus or a negative because, like, for example, the prosecutor has a negative because the prosecutor brings down the DC, and like those types of things. That bonus is static. That's what it is. You can possibly affect that by some shenanigans, but you're going to want to decide what your arguments are and how many of there are, and you're going to present them in your opening arguments. You're going to say, we want to debate this, we want to debate this, we want to debate this, and we want to debate this. And those are the things. We're going to move forward with those things. And we're going to take them one by one, and we're going to go into the presenting evidence phase of each one of those things. And then we're going to do closing arguments for each one of those things. But we're going to do one whole one at a time, unless you want to hit them all at the same time, because we can do that too. That's fine, because they could possibly be affecting each other, and that's a lot of fun. And then what we do is, for each of these phases, the opening argument is going to have a DC that you need to beat, determined by all these bonuses. And you're going to, for each of these arguments, you're going to eventually, after all that phase is done for that argument, you're going to roll. You're going to roll a D20, and you're going to add like all of these bonus dice that you've been working with, should you, for example, like I want to try to embellish this, put a persuasion check into the opening arguments. Because you guys know most about what's going on and you're powerful individuals and you're part of this, it is definitely a joint effort. It's a collective. Like it's not just this. You do have a barrister, an attorney, or Olario Leno, but Tammy and Olario Leno are the ones that know the law the best out of this entire group of people. And so it is behoove you to take advantage of that. Sean's so nervous.
Tammy might be good at this, but Sean's not.
Watch some lawyer stuff. Watch some lawyer shows.
Mock trial day is coming in handy.
Objection.
So what's going to happen
Sustained.
is that for each of these phases, if you win that part, you're going to get a D6. And and if you lose it, the defense is going to get a D6. And then after we go through all of these pieces, all those D6s are going to be added to the defense and the prosecutor, or like the defense and the prosecution, and you're going to roll one last roll with all of your D6s, depending on what it is you want to do for your closing argument, those types of things. And then whoever has the highest number has the most jury on their side and wins the case. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So each time you win a part of the case, you get a D6 added to the possibility of like the last roll that you make. Does that make sense? You get like another juror on your side. Cool?
Yeah.
So it's pretty simple as far as the dice are concerned. You're just going to have to decide, what do you want to argue? And because you are the prosecution, you have the advantage of you get to choose what arguments you present. Meaning, if the more you pick arguments that are relevant to the case, that you have a better chance of proving and winning, the better, with the evidence presented. Make sense?
Yeah.
Questions?
How do we win?
How do you win?
Yeah.
Like I said, at the
No,
end.
I was.
Oh, facetious.
Yeah.
I went. Tell me what I need to do to skip this
Yeah.
whole thing. If you do the duel thing, if you win the civil case, you skip the whole trying to do the big civil case entirely as the people that you decide get extradited. Because Olario Leno does not have the insight that you guys have. And he also doesn't. He's also bound by the law. He can't go in and do like shady shit and try to spy and find out who's actually involved in these types of things. You can. You're not bound by the law. You are not nations. Technically, Tamron is the only one that's part of a nation. Other than, Machete, you are, but you.
Not when this
But
involved.
as you have said many, many times, you guys are privateers. You can choose to disown your own nation if you want to. Also, they don't. They do have an extradition treaty. Oh, they do have an extradition treaty with the Mauritian people.
Yeah.
So
It's not.
you could. I would say that the two people that are not bound by the law because they are technically not members of any nation are Nakano and a Scoop. It doesn't mean that you could not help these individuals out as long as you're not caught. But if they are caught, they could only be tried as individuals, and it would not be able to affect the case whatsoever, except for the fact that they would no longer be able to attend the case because they would be being detained, for example. Does that make sense?
If you can catch them.
Yeah. As since Nakano is one of the stealthiest individuals, this absolutely caters to your benefit. So they can start doing, they can be doing, these people that are not part of, you can do it too, you just have a higher risk, not legal stuff to help influence the outcome. You can start doing things like judge tampering, jury tampering, bribing, spying, insider trading, trying to figure out who's on what, corporate espionage, government espionage. You can be doing these things, and you tell me what it is you want to do, and we'll do some simulations. And if there's a reason for there to be some role play and some lore dump and some exposition, then we do so. You could also be doing this while the trial is taking place if you're not called to testify. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Are you going to make me give a speech?
Given Tamron is a rather charismatic individual, and seeing this is something that requires a lot of prep to do, it might
Why
behoove.
Am I a sorcerer? I'm gonna
it
be
might-
fighter.
It,
I want
No.
to play. I want to go.
it might
throw
I wanna
behoove
go
Sean.
back.
Hold on. It might behoove Sean as a player to take a moment and sit down and think about the evidence and write an opening statement.
I mean, you
Oh,
have your friends too, so like,
Yeah, people can all of you guys can help with this, but it might help for like you guys as people can absolutely collectively decide on this. But it might be very helpful for Sean himself. Like I don't mean himself, but like as a person, you to actually write an opening statement. And how compelling it is, and like how well written it is, would absolutely mechanically affect how this is going to go. Granted, you don't have to, and you can just leave it up to the dice. You just then will not gain the benefit of the possible extra stuff that might come with that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do
I
know
want to go
that
back to
my
brick.
No, don't do that. I do know my sister has acted like a lawyer before too, so like you can maybe
Yeah.
send a message to her or something too.
And that's the other thing too. You guys have a bunch of abilities that are meant for like adventuring and combat and stuff like that. But you could possibly try to reach into some of those abilities to try to translate them to the courtroom if you so wish, and we can like finagle some stuff and roll some dice and see how that would work out. That's fine. Like we're gonna do a lot of simulated stuff here. Go ahead, Cameron.
Do I need to send a message to her, or I thought
To
like
who?
you're
To Trasheni, like if Demi wants and Olario wants a little bit of like pointers. Granted, she's not as familiar with this type of law, but she is very
Yeah,
familiar
but what
with
you
other
know
laws.
is what she knows, so
Well, but no,
You should-
she's still smarter than I am. She's very smart. Like the lawyer stuff is not my bag. It's
but she
too much
knows
bureaucracy.
what you know, and you know what she knows. That's what.
to an extent. It's like I like.
You guys get CNN breaking news updates when certain things
Yeah,
happen.
sometimes it happens. It's not like it's not like okay, I can use her mind to look at all these spell scrolls and be like, oh, this is how I do this. I don't know. It's it's not exactly the same. Like there's certain times where I felt super connected, but otherwise she's her own person.
So here's what we're going to do. In order to help with all the mechanics of your characters, per argument, because this trial is probably going to go over several days, if not weeks or whatever, per argument that you have, depending on how many arguments you want to present, I would like at least 3 to be presented, is what I would say, just so we can, like, it's not just a one argument thing, because if you fuck that up, then it's over and you guys are going to feel unfulfilled. So I would ask for at least 3 arguments. Per argument that you do, you need to keep track of the uses of your abilities and spell slots as you get a fresh day per argument. And what I mean by that is from the argument given in the opening arguments throughout all the way to the closing statements and its, judgment as far as like how the jury is leaning when you get your D6, that type of thing, or like when you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It is going to be like a long rest period for you. So like if one of your arguments is the Tanana, we should be recognized as a nation, while talking about that argument, you need to keep track of all your spell slots and your abilities and how you can use them. You do not get a short rest. You do not get a long rest. You get a recess. I will say
recess
that.
is a short
I will
rest.
say that. Here's the thing. Ooh, this is really interesting. You have 3 recesses that you can use. 3 short rests that you can use at any time. You can use them twice in one argument. That's fine. But over the course of the entire trial, if you decide to do 2 different trials, it doesn't matter. That's still 3 recesses over the course of this whole endeavor that you can use for short rests. The whole endeavor.
trials,
The whole
basically.
endeavor.
Okay.
You have 3 recesses, which you can do if you have things that recharge on a short rest. You can use a recess to recharge that stuff. But that's it.
Okay.
So,
What kind of spells would we cast during a trial? I feel like that would be frowned upon.
well, there's only one way to find out whether it's frowned upon or not.
The act of the
Granted,
gods and call lightning.
Tamron has a meta
I have a
magic
truth
thing
spell.
called. He does have a truth spell. He also has a meta magic thing called subtle spell, which allows him to
Yeah, but
cast a
if I
spell by
cast-
just thinking about it.
If I
And he
cast
doesn't.
a truth spell on somebody, that they know that I cast a spell on them.
That's true. And you'll have to find out whether that is something that is allowed inside this type of courtroom or this type of trial.
I feel like a truth spell would be allowed because why not?
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
Why wouldn't you have it on the truth or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say just to say again for the sake of time, we can say just so you know, this is gonna you're gonna need to spend 50 gold per ship for the Sutamabora and the Poundbringer for it to be dock worthy and being like for docking fees just while
Okay.
you're here. Let's just say that's it. We're done.
Seems
As
fair.
long as you guys.
Yeah.
All right, 50 gold
I'll
per
take
ship
it out of
for
the,
as long as you guys are here. That's the docking fees. You can take it out of there.
Yeah, I'll take it out of the.
We can kind of
Okay.
move forward and fast forward because there's a lot of actual mechanical stuff that I want to get to, and I do want to do some roleplay stuff too, but we're going to get there. Because what we can do is if at any time you want to say, hey, can I have had this person here so they can talk about it, we can do a little flashback roleplay scene. And depending like on how well that goes could be depending on how good the evidence that you're going to try to present could be too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So you meet up with Bicam and she's like, oh, well, I've been doing so much good work for you. I have quite a few people and you had mentioned that you wanted evidence and good contacts that were quite charismatic and I was able to procure quite a few of them for you. Yes, and I also brought some of my staff in order to take care of all of us while we are here. I have lodgings procured for all of us. We shall live in the lap of luxury during this very tenuous yet perhaps we shouldn't be celebrating maybe perhaps but live while we can, I suppose. But all of your ship crew members, should they not desire to be on the ship, will also be allowed quite defensible locations within the city proper. Yes.
Thank you. I
Cool,
mean,
thanks.
yeah, it's it's you're doing a great service to the people, regardless of the outcome. Yeah,
Well, of course, I'm nothing if not altruistic.
It is fashionable these days.
Oh, it's very fashionable. You could see how many new friends up in the upper classes and higher echelons of society I've been gaining from my altruistic endeavors.
We've heard.
Great. So that's
Yeah.
by Kim, and I know you don't want me to talk with her voice very much, so I won't. So pretty much, Bichem is like your staff manager. She is your she's the person who procures anybody that you want to bring to the stand, anybody you any evidence that you might need that you don't have on hand that she's gonna roll. She has her own bonus that she's gonna possibly roll to see if she can do flashback stuff and get stuff for you should you need it. So nothing's really off the table.
Okay.
She has what's called a +4 society bonus, and she gets +4 to her charisma stuff to go and grease rub some elbows and grease some palms and move around to try to get information where she needs to. This can be anywhere within reason. She can reach out contacts, whether that be magically or otherwise. It could be halfway across the continent. She would have a little bit more influence if there was something more local, but she also has contacts here in Namung. So that could mean anything as far as trying to get certain evidence. That could be trying to get you into places while people are in trial or not on trial. If you're trying to sneak into somewhere and make somebody turn the other cheek, trying to harvest some information, some data mining, all of those things are applicable.
Okay.
If you can think about it, we'll figure out a role that you can do for it.
Okay.
Great. That's it in a nutshell.
So could we maybe, before we end today, figure out a general plan of attack and then super high level, and then maybe was that okay?
Yeah, I would say the thing that you should probably flesh out first are what are your at least 3.
Well, I think we need to flesh out first
Yeah.
which type of case we're
Yeah,
doing.
are you doing civil, military, or civil and military? And what will your arguments be? I think that
Yeah.
would be the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And then that way you guys can then take that information home and start coming up with things. Because, yeah, you're going to have to like run a mock trial kind of. And we're just going to be rolling some, and we're going to simulate some parts of it with some dice.
I'm a little overwhelmed by this. This is like not something that I'm good at or really know how to do.
Well,
And I also,
there's
like,
always
my note-taking skills are not great.
Well, now's the time to get better at them.
It's too late now.
Yeah, we can always improve. But there's always the option to be like, hey, this is what I want to do. Can I roll for it? You like if you are like impressive and like have like you want to like act it out and everything, I'll be like, ooh, cool. I might give you advantage in those types of things. But like, you always have the option of like, you still have to have an idea of what it is you want to do. But you're basically running a truncated mock trial without actually having to be a lawyer, but still should have some idea as to where you're going. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
debate club.
Yeah, debate club.
Yeah.
It's like Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, or that one Ace attorney, whatever the fuck is it? Objection with the hair.
Yeah.
Cool. So why don't you guys decide, because it's definitely that time, why don't you guys decide, you can also be doing, at any time, it's going to be very nebulous as far as what time is during like the next session or two, because what it's going to be is at any time you could be like, hey, can I do flashback to when I went into the market and grabbed this thing? You can always do that, and we can run that scene and then go back into the trial. Like you can always do that. So if there's stuff you wanted to do in city,
track of when we're actually in the court, that'd be helpful for just
yes, I think
sanity.
the hardest part of that is going to be actually, I'll give you benefit of the doubt here. I'm going to do you a really big favor. If you're doing just one case, you don't need to keep track of that. You don't need to keep track of that. If somebody else is we could just say at a different time they were then called to testimony. If you're doing two cases at the same time, that's when we need to keep track of that.
it's
But
honestly more
I wanna
so
be very
for
loose about it.
note-taking purposes.
Sure.
that's
Again,
all.
time here is going to mean nothing for the next two sessions. Time is not really going to mean anything. I'll tell you when everything wraps up, and I'll tell you what date it is, but that's it. Everything else can just happen. Hey, can I have done this at this point? And I'll make you roll for it. And if you succeed, you can have done that at that date. That makes sense?
Sure.
The only time you're going to have to keep track of that type of thing is if you're running two cases at the same time and people want to call to the stand two people that have to be in two different places at the same time. And I will walk you through how that will happen. And that might just be as simple as roll the die to see if they were smart enough to line things up and if you're able to be here or not. And that's just going to be like luck checks, the things that you can still affect with some of your abilities. Like you have band luck and and bless and a couple of other types of things that you can be doing. But again, be aware for each argument, you have a long rest's worth of spell slots and abilities.
Yep.
And you have 3 recesses that you can do. So let's decide. Do you guys want to do civil, military, or both?
Again, I do want to hear what the seeker thinks, but Nakano and Scoop, what are your thoughts on this? Since you were
I was thinking of civil in the beginning, but I kind of want both now.
yeah. What do you think, Scoop?
I was thinking civil as well.
Like civil as in trying to get them recognized as a sovereign nation first, or just civil case in general for the atrocities that have been committed
The
against them?
atrocities, the second one.
Okay. What do you think, Danny?
Sean looks so mad.
No, I'm cool. I think like
He's so mad at me
what I
for
was
making him
thinking-
think.
Yeah, a little bit. I was thinking like initially it would make more sense to do a military trial just because it just purely against like the war crimes that were committed.
Yeah.
Yes, but the people were persuaded elsewise. That's why I'm not going military.
But how much evidence do we have against people outside of the military?
We only have a little bit with Captain Namada being basically swayed, to do what Fruth was wanting to do, I don't.
So this is a very good point. What we can do is like the first first part of the next session, what we can do and the next episode is you can have a full info gathering phase where you try to gather more information while you are here. However, you still need to input the motion of what trial you're going to do now. Otherwise, you won't be able to do it at all because of how slow the gears turn of things like this. So you're going to have to you're gonna have to make a gamble as far as which one, or if not both, are you gonna do? Which motions are you gonna submit? And then you'll deal with your info gathering afterward, because you still have to submit this information. Otherwise, you lose. There's a good chance that the people that are involved, the people that are or whatever, like you have a less chance of success because it's not so great. Like, you're here now.
Yeah.
The other thing is that Amada was like magically influenced.
Exactly. That's the
Right.
problem.
So like, how culpable is the military in this situation?
what I'm
Well,
saying.
It's a
but
good point.
also, the military could be culpable because they still follow the chain of command, whereas, the individual is like, oh, you were, basically roofied, for lack of a better term. Like, how culpable are you? It's
So that's the other thing. If you guys, again, I'm not trying to push for one or the other, but I'm to try to help you as far as when it comes to, because I know these are all big decisions. There's a lot of facets to think about. If you want to do dual trials, the military, some of your arguments, or the military, you would need less arguments, maybe one or two in the military trial. And one of those could be the type of, rather than trying to make the people who did the thing culpable, could also be the type of submitting a mea culpa for those that were influenced.
yeah. And we know that some are.
Some sort of immunity for those that were influenced, or at least some type of thing, and also then compelling them by subpoena and law to tell them who told them to do what and why, completely circumventing the whole national security protections of not telling, of them not legally not being able to tell you what is going on within the military. You could absolutely sue for that to gain even more information from the military case to help out the civil case, should you decide to do both at the same time. The problem of just doing a civil, the problem of just doing, I guess the most notable problem of just doing military is going to be, now that's the statute of limitations. You can't try them for the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Seeker, what would
Yes.
you, as your people, would like to do most? Given that we've explained all the possible things, what is the thing that's maybe the most appealing to both?
It is the opinion of, as I have spoken with my people, my opinion myself is neither here nor there, for I only guide those with some wisdom if I can, but it is the opinion of most here that we do as much as we can, as fast as we can, and the time is now. So we would rather sue for everything than go through the same cycle of having peace for a moment and have this happen all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we want to see those responsible suffer, and we'd rather have those in our own nation. We have been a nation for eons, whether these people recognize us or not.
Of course.
But if they would be forced to recognize us, they would be forced to give us back our lands. That is one of the arguments that we request, by the way, is that we request our ancestral lands back because they are our sovereign land.
Yeah.
So that is one that is proposed by the Tananawi people, is that they want that. As far as finding people culpable and all that things, that comes second to getting their lands back and being a nation. That's very important to them.
I have a question. This, basically, the attack was carried out on a Southern Dynasty city by ostensibly the Northern Dynasty. Why don't we have the support of the Southern Dynasty? Why isn't that like a basically declaring war on the Southern Dynasty itself?
So technically, you do, But again, there can only trials only exist between two different parties, and like I had said before, the Southern Dynasty is quite weak because of the accommodations it's been making to try to fix things.
Okay.
But technically you do, should you want to in all your flashbacks or whatever, want to reach out to some Southern Dynasty for more information during the information gathering phase or anything like that, and get some people
to the stand.
or call somebody to the stand, you absolutely can do that. But the Dynast themselves from the Southern Dynasty does not have sovereignty in the Northern Dynasty. They don't have governmental power here. They would just be another non-citizen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'd be and the two Dynasts are not on speaking terms. They do not like each other.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely possible. You can absolutely either pay for experts from there or pull people that have had experience with them. You can absolutely do that. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Okay. So to summarize, though, you and your people, just so that we understand and we know which clear direction we might want to go, it was more so the civil suit for recognition of your nation by the Northern Dynasty, because the Southern Dynasty has your support. And I think the fact that they do even recognize you as a sovereign nation is huge, right?
It could be a very large character weakness. Yes. Yep. Yes, it could. We are hoping to expect some support, at least in the legal manner, the possibility of witnesses or character witnesses in that type of way.
Okay. All right.
So they would rather go all or nothing, just because
So
they're
both?
tired. They would rather do both, just because of them as a people.
Yeah.
But granted, that doesn't mean that that's the right decision. That's definitely biting off a lot to chew, but that's just what those people would think.
But if you can get, it doesn't have to be the civil case of recognizing sovereignty first, even though that would make things easier with extradition. You could still have both simultaneously. You could still have the extradition.
Correct.
Or you could
what
still
I
have
meant
military
by that, the trial,
to stop
they didn't say they wanted the trial in the case about the actual thing that they're being accused of or whatever to be those things. They wanted one of the arguments
Yes.
to be that they are a nation.
Yes.
And one of the arguments to be that they should get their ancestral lands back because of this, that, and the third. And it's up you guys and your team to come up with evidence for those things. Those are the two things that they would like.
Yeah.
That's what, and whereas there are other members, especially among your crew, like Captain Avian Hurt, that would require and want them to be severely held accountable and punished for what it is that they've done. Hurt wants to see people hang.
Yeah.
And Captain Avery
Tracks.
wants to see people deposed from power.
So, given all the inputs, what do you guys think of doing both? One, to get recognition of the sovereign nation of the Tananawi by the Northern Dynasty, because the Southern Dynasty already did, and this as a civil case, and then the other being the military, because the military might be for the actual war crimes that have been committed. What do you guys think of that?
I think that's good because it does seem like two different atrocities that
Yeah.
Yeah.
need to be tried separately.
One is the short.
I'm on board with
Yeah.
both.
Okay. One's the short-term solution. The other's the longer term. So.
Yeah.
And it also means if you're doing both at the same time, if certain verdicts are reached in certain arguments, you can't try a different one based on another one. But should one trial finish before another one, you could use that precedent in there as new evidence. But it's also kind of wonky because you don't know. That would be left to a roll because there's a lot of pushback on that type of thing of introducing new evidence without allowing the defense to cross-examine and have access to it during discovery. They need to be able to have some sort of prepared defense to that type of thing. So it's possible to do it though, because you could convince the judge that to overrule it and allow it. It's possible. Which also would help to ingratiate yourself with the judge. And who says it's the same judge for both cases? Like, these are different things. But yes, there's a lot of facets going on here. A lot of this is going to be left to the roll and the dice, but you can basically do what you want.
Question. If we're doing sovereign nation, would it necessarily be just a civil case, or would it could it possibly be an international law, basically? Like, because you're not just like, because other nations
That is a
would then have to
very, very good question. I've been waiting for somebody to ask that, actually. It's a very good question. Tamron, I want you to roll a history check at advantage for me as Mashandi brings this up.
Big brain. Big brain.
Come on.
17.
You know
17.
what? No. I think if you heard this clause, add a d4 to that.
Can I do the same with my guidance, or is it?
Yeah, it's not guidance that I was
It's not
doing.
guidance. You can guidance him.
You get a
You can
slap
be like-
on the ass, man.
You can Rafiki move the waters and say, look harder.
Okay, then 23.
23.
Yay.
So applying for the College of Thule, in the Bardic University and in Thule and the College of the Unearthed, you had to go through a lot of legal stuff because it was important. You know, you were having even though the university doesn't consider the boundaries of different nations as any type of hindrance for people to come there. They allow anybody, even if they're not part of the continent. Like, doesn't matter. They don't need to have a certain type of agreement to be there. They're supposed to be like, you know, free immigration, that type of thing, as far as like, you know, for college and for schooling and education. One of the reasons why it's called the age of the Enlightenment era right now is because one of the only things that all of the nations in this continent agreed upon was Bardic immunity. And the fact that the Bardic College, the Bardic University, was going to start to record everything they possibly could to prevent the bad history from repeating itself and try to educate the populace. And they all recognize, all recognized nations, you know, that have like, you know, rule of law that aren't, you know, their own thing, that don't do that, at least like of note, I would say, that you can see on a map. Never mind. You understand what I'm saying. Recognize and respect Bardic immunity to a certain degree. Because of that, there is precedent for federal law as far as a continental law. So, if you would attempt to cite the motions of the Bardic University and use Bardic immunity as the precedent, you could absolutely, like, kind of pull a fast one, or add an addendum to suing to recognize them as a nation to be automatically recognized continentally as a nation, like automatically. If you brought that precedent up and it was allowed, it would. If you win the case, they not only would they be recognized by the Northern Dynasty, but by the whole world as you know it as a whole. And you realize that, and that what that also means.
I'm a little confused about all that. Sorry, I didn't.
So pretty much, so in law, for things, sometimes when there's things that like don't have a precedent, like they haven't happened before, that's when often it's brought to trial, and then the jury decides on what's happening and blah blah blah. And so, if you can like cite another case that was kind of similar to what is happening right now, and use like, I have used the precedent of Roe v. Wade to like, you know, use this to like, you know, figure out what's going on here. And usually you have a massive amount of support in there because it was already ruled that this was going to happen. And like this case was already tried. So it was already ruled that y'all would agree upon things like Bardic immunity. There's already a federal acknowledgement of a wandering nation of people that are recognized and allowed to be in any nation in order to gather information. You can absolutely use that precedent that the continent as a whole legally is a massive nation, or like a massive, like, you know, multi-nation, like EU, like a UN. You could absolutely use that precedent to say that technically we are like a UN. And should I pass this law here, it applies to all nations. And you could use that as like a loophole to make it automatically be recognized.
So if we got somebody else from one of the other nations to recognize them as a nation too.
Correct. And you do, because the Southern Dynasty does.
Right, but then if you had one other nation also recognize them, that would also
Correct.
strengthen the argument.
Your best bet, I would say, for that would be the Protectorate. Because the Protectorate is already doing sweeping reforms, and their new Lord, Lady Rhea, is young and ambitious and on a tear when it comes to doing reparations and helping people and trying to make things right. So if you can have someone get in contact with Lady Rhea, you can absolutely get someone on your side who's saying, I absolutely, two nations, I recognize this person as well. I recognize this nation as well. That would be your best bet. Having said that, because the drawback to then pulling that card of saying I'm setting this precedent is that, Tamara, you're going to have to out yourself as a member of the Bardic University. You're going to have to show your bean. And you're going to have to
Sorry.
show your bean.
Bean, you're bean, dude. You got to be.
Your little rainbow bean.
It's not really. I haven't really been keeping it a secret that I'm beamed.
No, but you'll have to like legally present it and show that you are that, which would possibly put a target on your personal back.
If I don't have enough targets already.
Yes, that's all I'm saying. It's like it pretty much means that you would have to publicly announce exactly who you are. There would be, if you want to play that card, there would be no way of remaining like somewhat anonymous. You would like everybody would know who you are, where you are, and no matter where they were. Like anybody who knows anybody would know who you are and where you are.
Yeah.
That's the only drawback for that, pretty much. But yes, very, very good question. It also means it would set precedent for further amendments of like federal or continental law, like UN, like world law, international law, for CrestVahllen, which is huge. That is huge. That's way bigger than Twin Isles. That is huge. That would pave the way for like Lady Rhea to possibly abolish slavery internationally. That would probably pave the way for the Bardic University of Tulane to not only be recognized as its own city-state, but also be able to set up colleges in other nations. That would be able to pave the way for the monkish temples and the monastic orders to consider themselves non-nationalistic own entities.
They're Switzerland.
That are immune to international law, except when things are happening on their own thing, like but only within their own temples. Like it paves the way for a lot of good to happen, but possibly also a lot of bad. Like, but it, it's about where the tide is happening.
Yeah,
it is big, so this could be a lot bigger than just this case. So, as far as arguments are concerned, sovereign nation, return of ancestral lands, and Hurt and Avery want people punished.
Yeah, which would be under the military
Correct.
case.
Depending, but we'll see. Are there any arguments that you guys want specifically? Like, this would also be an opportunity to, if you're trying to data mine and get like extra lore and find out who's responsible for what and try to like forcibly cause people to legally divulge certain information and get to the core of certain things, this would be the time to do it, because they would be compelled by nations to do or say what they need to do.
It's a lot. I mean, there could be like some things in consideration of like, our home base, right? Too, which has been like a neutral territory for a long time too. I don't know. The only thing like I was thinking of when you say arguments, I was thinking actual arguments for like you were the wrongdoers, not the things that you're trying to get past.
No, not
through the case.
I mean, yes, that could absolutely but what are you suing for? What's the punishment that you're suing for? Like, as far as like, this is the argument that you're saying, like, this is what happened, and so this is happening. Like,
Yeah. No,
and I'm just trying to say, I'm just trying to simplify it where I'm saying like, you're working towards this, make the evidence that this is true, and then the side effect will be that thing happens. For example, if
end
you
of the day, Northern Dynasty still needs to recompense these survivors in general.
Correct.
For the atrocities that they've done, and that could be through land and or compensation. As well.
Like reparations. So yeah, if you want to lump that into that argument, like return of ancestral lands and reparations,
Yes.
that type of thing. Yeah, okay, we
'Cause
can
they've
absolutely
also
do that.
lost people that they cannot get back.
You got it.
What do you guys think? What else is?
It's big. That's a big question.
Yeah.
You could absolutely throw something in there that kind of aligns with what you're doing for your own personal needs too. Like, if you want to be like, if there's some type of, even if it's not like true, if you win it, it'll happen. So like, if you want to try to be like, oh, well, Masha influenced them and told them to do this thing, even if they didn't, now Masha, should the law pass and now be federally recognized, then Masha has to come to court. And
I
Masha
think
has
we
to
need-
have these types of things, and you
I
can
don't want
question
Masha
Masha.
to come to court.
No.
I'm just saying, like,
I don't want
I'm like,
Masha.
these are things that could happen. Like, you can rope in people and figure things out.
We know the Red Lion Syndicate was part of this. What we could possibly say is, and knowing your history too, Nakano, with the Red Lion Syndicate, we could say or propose a dissolution of the Red Lion Syndicate.
You could absolutely do that. You could say that they are also partly responsible for this. So
They
you
are
should,
responsible for this.
yeah.
Period.
Right.
Yeah.
But that would go under
Allegedly,
the aggressors being
but yes.
punished.
No,
would
that
go
would
to the
be
military.
that would actually, because they're an entirely separate entity. They're a contracting
civil-
entity. So you could absolutely sue for the disillusionment and the disbanding of the Red Lion and Syndicate as a whole.
Yeah.
Pretty much like internationally banning them from being able to do any more business.
Yeah. Because that could stop the slaving, because Fruth was
And
initially part of the Red Lion Syndicate. So like
Yes.
that was,
Yeah.
and who knows who actually contracted them to actually do this.
also adding that on to your arguments of something that you're pursuing would guarantee the support of Lady Rhea
right,
and the
because-
Protectorate, which is a
right,
massive
because-
fucking nation.
So we might put that under the civil suit if you guys agree. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud that like it seems like to be
Yeah.
it's kind of shitty. Like, they're mercenaries. I get it, and like not all of the Red Lion Syndicate members are terrible. They might just be trying to put food on the table, but there are other ways that they can do it. And it's a shell game or shell corporation for, whoever is actually.
Well, they do other
Strings.
things too, right? Like, we would just have to like take their teeth out, basically, to say you're not allowed to do these types of contracts anymore.
I mean, I think if we fought
You could
for
absolutely do that.
But if we fought for their dissolution and we only get, you can only do X, Y, and Z, I think that's still a win. Whereas if we only go for, you can only do X, Y, and Z, we may not even get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, don't forget, this is still a case. There is definitely the chance that someone or the defending attorneys may try to settle with you guys outside of court
Yeah.
and be like, hey, and might come to you at some point and be like, hey, I see how the case is going. Let's stop this right now. Here's what I'm offering. Do you say yes? And if you don't, and then you keep moving forward. Everything's a gamble. So that's a possibility too. So the same thing of like, yeah, if you want to sue for something that you might not get, and then have someone say like, okay, look, we'll give you this.
Yeah.
That's a decent tactic. Yes.
So I know that it might not get rid of everything that might fall under that. Like another Red Lion Syndicate might pop up, of course. But the time for that to be organized, etc., at least there will be that gap in the world of where that doesn't exist. That kind of role doesn't exist if we do win. So, just an idea. But what else do you guys think?
I would say like those are three really good arguments for the civil case: Tinanawi sovereignty, return the ancestral lands and reparations, and the disbanding of the Red Lion Syndicate as a responsible party. Those are three really good arguments for that, as far as like that's what you're trying to get, and then you just need evidence for these things and moving forward. I would say you need then just remainder 2 arguments or things that you're seeking and suing for the military. 1. unless you want more civil stuff.
No,
Also, I'm sorry, I just thought of that as well. If you guys want to add stuff on later and be like, hey, can I use the goodwill or like, the progress that we've gotten here as you start to do more info gathering and have people sneak and do stuff, can I try to put this person on the stand to see if I can get more information? Like, you can do stuff as the trial is going on. Okay. If you want to start to add punishments later on and for things where you absolutely can do that as you find out more information. But you need to go into the trial with like opening arguments.
Because overall, Saivesh is in the Northern Dynasty, correct? Just double checking.
Yes, Saivesh is in the Northern Dynasty.
So
it's on the
we are
southern coast of the
technically
Northern
lords
Dynasty.
and ladies of the Northern Dynasty.
You are.
So let's keep that in mind too. From the military case, I feel like Yamada is at fault even though she was controlled, right?
I'm having trouble hearing you, hon.
Yamada was at fault even though she wasn't controlled, yeah? So it's I don't know, like what just trying to come up with the arguments, and we need to take down the Cauldron initiative. That's I believe.
Do we
it
know
was-
like who ordered any like who's
Black
behind,
Cauldron
like, how
initiative.
far up? Well, sure, but like who's
Well,
who gives
well,
you what's that chain of command like? Who gives the orders there? Like
so we did so it wasn't that, it was Fruth because he was enrolled by the Red Lion Syndicate to give to sway via magical means Captain Yamada, who is part of that, right? So like it didn't come down necessarily from, at least the evidence that we have or we witnessed, it didn't come down from anybody else in that.
Fruit Lovud was from the Red Lion Syndicate that was using magic and like kind of like the Worm Tongue Lord of the Rings kind of dude
Right.
into the king of not Rohan, the king of, was it Rohan?
It was Rohan. That was Wormtongue, but
That
yeah.
Worm Tongue, yeah, the Worm Tongue to the king of Rohan. That's pretty much how they were doing it, just like slowly charming them and like using magic to do so. Part of the Red Lion Syndicate, as by the nature of Red Lion Syndicate, they are hired people, aren't they?
Right.
hired by the
contractors.
Red Lion Syndicate.
No,
But-
Fruit Lovud was part of the Red Lion Syndicate that was staffing the Sutamabura.
But we don't know who
But
from.
the Sutamabura was Black Cauldron.
The Sutamabura,
Yes.
yes, but it was supplement. The crew was supplemented by members of the Red Lion Syndicate.
and Fruth was the boatswain.
Yeah, the
bosun.
bosun,
Sorry, that's how it's spelled.
boatswain, but
Yeah.
bosun. Yeah.
And
Well, you
so he
gotta
had a
ignore
little
all
bit
those
of an
letters,
ear, like he had a little bit of Captain Yamada's ear.
Yeah, it went from forecastle to foxhole just because people do stuff.
English. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know what the like chain of command would have been otherwise within the Cauldron,
Black
Black
Cauldron
Cauldron
Initiative.
itself.
The Black Cauldron Initiative was
It's that peacekeeping, yeah?
yeah, they're the kind of like flagship naval sector of the Northern Dynasty that is supposed to be like keep the peace along the like the no-fly zone, no man's land, like border area between the Northern and Southern Dynasty. But
Why are they
Apparently
involved
they're
with the
a little
Red
bit more.
Lion Syndicate?
They just needed more people, I think.
they
right?
supplemented their crew with the Red Lion Syndicate because they wanted more oomph, they wanted more manpower.
Because
So
you only have
this
so
whole
many
thing
hands
might
to.
be just the Red Lion Syndicate then, right?
But who
Like if the
contracted
Black
the
Cauldron hired the Red Lion Syndicate, and the Red Lion Syndicate is the one that influenced them to do this.
But who's the Black Cauldron?
But who hired the
by?
Red Lion Syndicate?
And who hired them?
Oh.
Yeah. The Black Cauldron is also like, maybe both sides are funding it, yeah?
The Red Lion Syndicate is often apolitically motivated. They don't give a shit. If the people pay them, they'll do whatever the fuck they want. They're morally bankrupt. They'll do what people pay them to do.
Which is why we want to take them down in the civil case.
And they will do. Almost nothing is beyond the realm of what they will do if they're paid enough coin.
So do we know who hired Fruit Lavud?
The the Red Lion Syndicate hired.
No,
No, I know, but
Fruit Lovood is
Who-
part of the was
who-
part of the Red
Yes.
Lion Syndicate,
Yes, but
right,
we
so
don't
somebody
know.
in the Black Cauldron hired Fruth Lavu to be on that ship.
or somebody in charge of the Black Cauldron, or have some sort of influence that was able to put people on the ship of the Sutamabura. Hired Fruit Lovood via the Black
Right,
the
but
Red
we
Lion.
You gotta
don't
figure
know
out who that
why.
is and put them on trial, right? Put them.
Yeah.
on
Didn't
the
we
stand and be
talk
like, why did
about-
you do that?
Didn't we talk about the power structure of the Northern Dynasty a little bit?
We did at one point. I have a diagram somewhere. I do remember like drawing
Yeah.
it out, but it's not in the same area.
I remember if you remember when you figured this out when you were in Saivesh, when you were like fighting the
Because
people
we
that
were
were
also trying to come up with like, oh, what do we
Yeah.
do for
there.
politically for him?
These are the people that you know of. There's the Daifon, who has Daifon Kyotin Yatla, who has complete hierarchy of the Ryomi power structure, which is like the kind of the samurai-esque looking kind of standing army of the Northern Dynasty, that kind of military. There's Hakushai Dargatan, who serves as the emissary of nobility to the dynast, making sure that their interests and issues are represented. There's the Vodomo Varador dude, who is in charge of day-to-day policy. They are a female Tananawi, and they're but have wormed their way into society, and some people say them, oh, you're a traitor to our people, blah 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 blah. In charge of day-to-day policies, taxes, finances of the dynasty, that type of thing. Like the keeper of coin, as it were, and that type of thing. And then there's the Konig Magus Rolam Bakra, who's the court mage and head mystic of the Northern Dynasty. The Northern Dynasty themselves, the dynasty is Gaken Toma.
Can you repeat who the mage was? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Rolam Bakra. ROLAMBAKRA. It's called the Konig Magus, which is KONIG-MAGUS. And so those are people those are pretty much like the basic highest power structure there. If you remember, whatever his name, not Pebbles through Flowing Rivers, standing Autumn. Remember the person who was
turned
into like
Yeah.
the zombie plant things, and affected by the sakura blossoms,
Yeah.
had a letter that tied all the way back to Vodomo Varador dude. If you remember that.
Yes.
But like you weren't sure what the connection there was like at all, and logic would dictate that the people who were telling the Ryomi to do the thing would be the person that was in charge of the Ryomi, Daifon Koten Yatla. And so it was really big. It's like you weren't able to like put all the puzzle. You didn't have all the puzzle pieces. Something was there, but there's definitely like people in high positions moving chess pieces around outside of their perhaps desire, or well, you don't know. Like there are definitely people pursuing their own agendas, as it were.
Right. Okay.
So yeah. Now, all of these people are, I mean, you would assume, somewhere in the Northern Dynasty. The palace that the dynasty spends most of their time is up in the mountains, but they do make appearances down in the capital. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's what you know. So arguments for the military, or pursuant ensuings.
I mean, what do you guys think? Like, do we just go after Dottori Yamada? Because I mean, like, but she's clearly the fall guy, if you will. Or do we go after somebody else?
Yeah.
Because we know that she was very clearly like distraught once she realized the consequences of her actions, because she was not of her own volition. Yeah. So.
Yeah. What
One of
about
the things-
Fruth? He just disappeared, right? You're
He
just like,
literally
"Peace."
disappeared.
Just
Yeah,
winked and like just went away.
Yeah, you know what though? Like a scoop. I
Remember, he
wonder
went
if,
down to
like-
the teleportation circle,
Yeah, he
and
just dipped. He could
and
be
then-
anywhere.
Yeah, but Scoop, you could still contact him, right? Like you could still contact
be
him.
an earworm in his ear.
Yeah, you totally could. You could be kind of like a spooky dude in his ear and in his mind and be like, "Hey, I know what you did last." Hylock.
Psylocke.
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 You know
I know
that
what
kind
you
of
did,
thing.
Psylocke, coming in October.
I don't know. Like, if he does say anything, and we could find out where he is, or if he's still alive, at the very least, right? Because if he was,
It was. I believe I messaged him not too long ago, probably maybe
oh yeah,
2 weeks ago, and he was.
So there's also the option of like, if you wanted to like sue and have one of your arguments be the Black Cauldron Initiative is not doing their job, evidenced by the fact that they broke the peace treaty and tried to destroy a town, and that they should be dissolved. Not placing any blame on any individual particular, and therefore like Captain Amada wouldn't be like targeted by that type of thing, but still the Northern Dynasty would have to reorganize and figure out what it is they're going to do with their military power, especially their naval, which would be very debilitating for them, in order to like just say, you have a whole sect of the military that's supposed to do this thing, and they did the exact opposite of the thing. They no longer should have agency. Like, they no longer should exist. You could attempt to sue for the disillusionment of the Black Cauldron Initiative, if that's something that you wanted to do. That's one of the things, if you remember by reading the papers that were on the ship of the Sutamabura, is that the Black Cauldron Initiative wasn't really doing their job.
yeah.
They were kind of a cover that publicly they were meant to do. Granted, it could have been just because all it takes is one person in power to be swayed for everyone else below them to now do just following orders. But they weren't really doing their job, and they were kind of doing the opposite of what their whole purpose was, and kind of harassing people rather than protecting people.
It wasn't just harassing; it was literally killing people.
Yeah, like yes, that as well.
So maybe that's also the damages and fines to the town and the people that were on the original ship, that Sail Flick and
Sailflick, yeah, that's correct.
and what's her name was also on Kimi.
Oh, not Fella, but
No.
I know who you're talking about. though.
Yeah, those two, because they were the only two survivors.
They were
and
only
so
two
any-
survivors.
anybody that was a family member of them, clearly they should
Correct.
get some reparations. For lack of a better term.
And what I was saying about Fruitful Lagoon, he was talking to someone else at the time
Mm-hmm.
when I messaged him, because I did a silent message where I just kind of breathed and it went through.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to be a guinea pig to someone else as well.
So do we go after Fruth himself? Could that be another argument within? Because he was technically part of.
To like subpoena them.
Not just subpoena them, but they would be the fall guy because they also did commit the crimes. You know, it's
You could call them, subpoena them for like to witness.
Oh, I think absolutely for witness.
Sure. I mean,
But,
I would write that down for you, not necessarily as an argument, but I would write that down as someone that you would want
Yeah.
to subpoena.
Yeah. If they'd be willing to cooperate, though, like I
Sure.
don't think they would, but
You could also, like, if you're trying to use the military also to then gain access to people you would not normally have access to, like to subpoena them, you could possibly gain access to the like the higher echelon of people in power in the Northern Dynasty. Like you could like subpoena Vodomo or Dude. You could
Yeah.
subpoena Kotanyatla. Like, you could even technically subpoena the Dynast because of their involvement in what their massive sect of the military did. and possibly then use them to mine them for information. Like you could get them in a room to question them legally, and you could have access to them legally, and they would be legally remanded like to appear.
Right. Don't you know if you cast something to make them very truthful?
That's
like,
the other thing too.
I
Like,
mean, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
so like that's always an option if you're like trying to like figure
We
out.
just are trying to figure out our fifth argument, basically.
Yeah.
Our second argument for the military case, and I don't have a clear idea as to what that could be. Obviously, the one for the military case that we do have is the Black Cauldron Initiative wasn't doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Do we go for something where the person that was calling the orders is actually also at fault and incompetent in what they were sworn to do?
You could, which could then be like another way to rope the military thing into deposing certain people in
Yes.
power.
Because that could possibly be like
Follow the money, follow who you got your orders from, that type of thing.
Who ordered this in the
Yeah,
first place?
and that
Get them
can
out the
keep
power.
going. Like as long as you can keep connecting the dots, you can keep going. As long as like you haven't rooted out every little bit, you can keep going until someone like tries to pull a fast one and pull some like legal shit. That's why you should stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to say that the Black Cauldron Initiative wasn't there doing their job,
And
also
somebody
their
up at the
superiors
top.
weren't doing their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could absolutely do that.
I mean, what do you guys think? Is that our second and final argument for the military case, or is there something else that you can think of for?
I think that's good.
I mean, it could cause quite the shakeup. It could go all the way up
Yes.
to the top of the Northern
You're gonna get
Dynasty.
pushback for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
And perhaps some out of trial danger.
Yeah. But we're tough motherfuckers, you know. Like, I mean, that's fine. Like you're
Yeah, with
death.
one
Like
arm.
you're death incarnate. I mean, you know, it's who's gonna fuck with death? So
Yeah.
I would say an addendum to like the superiors weren't all like the disillusionment and dismantling of the Black Cauldron Initiative. Like as one of the punishments for something like this, you could try to sue. This would be a reach, but you could try to sue for the demilitarization of the northern and southern dynasties. Like you would be to demilitarization of the northern dynasty if like the southern dynasty also does, because the southern dynasty is already halfway there. So that there would be no military to try to do this thing again to the Tananawi, and then have the Tananawi have their own self-defense force, should that be.
the problem is that I think like what ends could possibly be happening with Lady Masha if we defang completely the Northern Dynasty, so to speak.
The Twin Isles is one of the few nations that has access to like the black powder, like the cannons, like naval cannons. For obvious reasons, the fact that they're a naval nation, but
Yeah, but I think so. Like maybe we don't go complete demilitarization, because then that is effectively also stripping. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, I'm seeing a vacuum of power if we do that. That's the only thing that I'm imagining anyway, because this black powder stuff is all the craze nowadays.
it's up to you. You guys also don't have to decide now. You guys have your arguments.
Yeah.
You guys have what it is that you want to do forward. You guys can decide now on the fly pretty much what it is you want to do as you gather more information. So that's good. That's great, guys. You did amazing. Lots of work here. This is great. This is a good, nice rubric for what it is you want to move forward. Sean, good luck. Godspeed.
Yeah.
But call us. We're your friends. I'll help you write some
Yeah,
stuff if
yeah.
you want me to help you write
Yeah.
some stuff. But I also don't want to be the DM helping you out with a bunch of stuff. So, but yeah, I'm still your friend, Sean. So I'll, if you need some help out, talk to Noelle, talk to Angela and Cam. I will say, you guys actually have some homework for this one. There is definitely some homework involved in here. It will affect what's happening here. So do the thing. Don't forget, do the thing.
We have homework. I'm writing in my notes right now.
Well, the next session we're gathering stuff, but then the session after that.
I'd say the first half of the next session is when you can gather information. Granted, if that goes longer, we can
I need
continue
that
doing
stuff to be able to write my.
But you could still write like
Start writing
the
out some
outline,
ideas, yeah.
for statements based on what we
Yeah.
already know, and then you can fill
because you
in
do have a
gaps.
lot of information already and a lot of evidence.
And if you want, like, I could type up my notes from that period in time and
Yeah.
send it that way, because I know that
I might
like,
need a little bit because I don't know.
yeah, I know that the notes were.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need more than like a paragraph or two, really.
Yeah.
That's your argument. That's your opening argument, and just
Yeah.
touching on a couple things.
But you just have to deliver it like super cool too. That's the only thing. So
Yeah, and I know Sean can. I know Sean can act, so it's like I know you can do that because we're both performers. I know you can do it. Cool. So we have all of that stuff. So yeah, we'll do our info gathering session as part of next session. If it bleeds into the whole session, it bleeds into the whole session. And then at the very least, the session after that, we are going to start the actual trial proper. Trials proper. And as I said before, you can be doing other stuff, do flashbacks of when you went to the city, grab some things, and we'll try to do our thing, roll a lot of dice. You'll have...
Nakano and a scoop need to be very nefarious.
Yes, you could absolutely be doing that. Yes, you will have Bellario Barada Bingano be there and be like, well, as I said before, like if you will listen to my constituency of my eloquent diatribes of how I was. What's up?
Is he basically Atticus Finch?
Kind of. I guess like he's like if like an eloquent oil baron had a bolo tie and they all do, and like was also an attorney type of thing, but an elf, like kind of like a little bit heavy set portly elf as well, which is odd to see.
It's literally the chicken from the old Warner Brothers cartoons. That
you mean Foghorn Leghorn?
is that was
Yeah,
that his
Foghorn
name?
Leghorn. That was his
Okay,
name.
yeah.
Well, I'll say, I
Yes,
resembled that remark.
yes,
Yeah.
That dude, but in an attorney suit and not a chicken.
Yeah, and not a chicken, and an elf.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be fun? Because like his description, he has his like long ears, like swayed and like gelled back with his like shiny hair gelled back, and he's just kind of like a portly creamsicle. But yeah, cool. So that's what we're gonna do next time. Think about stuff. Look at your homework. It's not like a whole nation of people are depending
Or
on you or anything.
continent, you know.
And don't forget, you have death on your side.
Yay.
So even if the trial don't go your way, you can just be like, can we just kill him as they exit the courthouse? Do one of those things.
Kill 'em all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coup.
Cool.
All right. Thank you guys
It's
so
a
much.
coup, yo.
Cool.
It's a coup.
Cool.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. And as always, stay safe out there. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.